Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching in the world. My name is Sean Driver. This is, the Joint Collection, the local pundit, Racecourse Ramble, Two Beards, Wrexham, Dazzle, Welsh Beast, myself. We run the After 90 Minutes, where we're going to talk about more than After 90 Minutes. This is 270 minutes? Not me, because I slept through the first half of the Mansfield one, but hey, what do you do when you end up working late and then you end up missing things? And so it has gone pretty much about as good as it could be. Look, my day, I've still got another match that's important to me. Canada playing Trinidad, if you are just joining from another channel, starting at 1 o'clock. And that one matters to me because that's Copa America qualifying. We need to win that one to draw into a group with Argentina, Chile, and Peru, which would be a lot of fun. And if we lose, that's frustrating, and I will be exceptionally angry, and it will ruin what has been a marvelous day. Colchester does us a favor, takes 2 points away from Mansfield. We go and do the work in the first half, and then cruise to a victory. And then we've got the follow-up with the Stockport beatdown of the MK Dons. I've got Sheldon in the background, Racecourse Ramble. Josh is in the background. I see some people are away, so they're getting ready and prepped. Doing biological breaks and otherwise. And what I'm anticipating is I'm going to be handing this thing off at some point in time and letting them go as I eke in the background and try to enjoy the madness that is 4 games of football. Look what Wrexham's done. Pulls me in, draws my attention and love to the game. And while I would have watched the national team, it means a lot, especially because we're 50th in the ranking. But as for Wrexham, you look at the League Two table, and we'll go into it in some regard. Lots to discuss about, do we like the fact that it was the Dons that took the loss and now there's a 3-point split behind them? Or would we have preferred Stockport, who was looking out of form, to end up being the team that was more likely to draw out? Lots to talk about there, and we'll see where we're at. Hey, here's the things that you can do. Wherever you are watching, and I see you there, and wherever you are watching, do the following. There are links down below if you're watching on my YouTube to the Racecourse Ramble, local pundit, Welsh Beast, Basil at Dazzle Publishing. Go and hit them, give them a subscribe. Wherever you're watching, hit a like button. Let people know that we're out there as we go and collect this 59 people, and we're going to do the mob. I see Sheldon's there. I see Matt's there. Josh yet to come, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the both of you guys in there. Somebody ducked out of the way, Sheldon, on that one. I'm curious.
Good evening, all.
They should be there in the jacket. How are you? You guys are live. You're in charge. It's been a day. Tell me. Let's start with Matt. How did your day start to take the Mansfield one in, the whole run with them, and what were your thoughts generally? And then we'll grab Sheldon and do the circle.
It has been a super Saturday, hasn't it? With all these games, it's been really good.
Yeah.
I was delighted with that Mansfield. I thought realistically that was as good as we could probably hope for. I know Colchester looked a bit lively at points, but I think that performance, watching Mansfield, has given me some more confidence for Friday, to be honest. And maybe there's some recency bias because we've won as well. Maybe I wouldn't be feeling that if we'd have lost or drawn or something. But I think I thought it was actually a good game. The Mansfield commentators, I don't know if you heard the same commentators as what I did. Mansfield commentators were woeful. Oh my life.
I don't even know who I ended up getting because I was so groggy because I worked until 2:30 in the morning, crawled into bed, didn't get up for the first half, and then it was right on. It was like, let's talk football. What am I doing with my life? That's the second time that's happened this season. I did the same thing with the first Tranmere game.
You're allowed to do that. That's okay. It's early for you, mate.
I tried so hard. Kim saying Wrexham didn't play that well, just got a great result. I'll follow that up with Kim just before you go, if you don't mind. I was just going to say, I thought that we played exceptionally well in the first half and did what we needed to do, and then we shelved it.
Yeah, I understand what Kim's saying. I think, and I feel free to disagree. I'm amazed that Grimsby tried to play football with us. I thought they were really open and expansive compared to what I thought they were going to be. I thought they were really going to shut up shop, proper shut up shop. And they didn't. They did try and play. And I'm delighted with the first half. And the second, I was disappointed. This is going to sound weird. I was disappointed with the second half because I wanted us to go on and thump them and really send a statement. And I think we just, we obviously sort of we did the professional performance, didn't we? And just let them get back into it with a soft goal at the end. But, let's be realistic. It's back-to-back away wins for the first time in nearly a year in the league, and a confidence boost ahead of Friday.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. Sheldon, why don't we jump in? I'll bring Josh in, who's now ready. He had to get something, and I've got a graphic to fix up because I don't know why I've still got the scoreboard from what I was doing with mine. So I'm going to fix that. So Sheldon, did you watch all of them? Did you watch part of them? Were you doing the show with Josh? Tell us about how you viewed that and what your thoughts were initially. Are you muted? Do I have you muted? I can't hear you. And that's okay. I'll see if it's just a flick of the switch and a button. I see a light lit up. Do we got you?
I'm not sure if he can hear you.
Well, you can hear me.
I can hear you. Oh, you can hear
me. We can't hear you. So it's an issue. Let me double check. I don't have you muted. I don't have you muted on my end, but let's pull Josh in. He can cover for it and tell us what he did. Hello.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you. So I'm assuming you were doing the watch parties. I don't know if you did the first game or not.
He had to cover for you.
All right, fair play, Matt. So I saw that you were doing the first game, right? And I was like, all right, I'm like, all right, cool. People will go watch that one. So I figured we would do our games, and then on the after we would do the post 90. But I was like, then Sheldon, about like 43 minutes into the game, about 5:15, he's like, hey, he's still sleeping. Are you up? And I'm like, oh Christ, whatever time it was. Like, yeah. And then I saw your thing, and then Matt was like, get up, loser. I don't know if it was loser, but it was something on those slides.
I suck at communicating. I've been so bogged down with work. I've ignored my family. I've ignored everybody and everything. But we'll set it right. April 1st for everybody that's here. We got 100 that's in here. I think we're going to do a mass watch party, and I don't know exactly who's all going to be there, but we're going to find 4 bodies. We'll stream it everywhere.
Yeah.
Each of us will watch a game. We'll draw lots or do whatever for 4 different matches that are going on, because Wrexham plays on the 2nd at night, right? Easter Tuesday. How did that work out?
Yeah.
Because I think it was police reasons was the reasons that they gave.
Really?
The game that I wanted to go to, my wife being from Doncaster, that was supposed to be Mansfield. So we'll do the Mansfield one individually, but then we'll follow that up with the group one. So we'll let everybody know that we're all going to be watching that one together.
I was so pissed because I wanted to do, not pissed, but I was like, I saw the post 90 that I was up, and I'm like, the Stockport one, I wish we all coordinated with Matt. Now I know Matt was making a curry, which apparently was awesome. But anyways, I was like, oh yeah,
we stuck it. That's on me. I have to own that and apologize to everybody, and we'll carry on and do this as though I should have brought Sheldon in right there as he was shotgunning that monster drink or whatever he was pounding back in the background that nobody else sees but me. Let's talk about what your thoughts were generally, and then what we'll do is we'll try to encourage some other people in here. I see Sheldon's there, but by all means,
Starkey, get yourself in here.
Get in there.
Find a link. Well, I'll grab it momentarily and put it in the chat. I'm just trying to fix my graphics as we go. But Josh, generally, what did you think of the day?
What did I think of the day? So I thought the result early on was good for us. Obviously, there's no doubt. Them dropping points is great. So I'm really excited about that. I would have liked to have seen them win, but the result is good for that, for the Mansfield game. Cool. We go into our match. I thought against the run of the wind, I thought we had a fantastic goal by Cannon. His second goal was probably our best goal of the season, and then the third goal by Moles was fantastic. For whatever reason, and this is going to come into play. It's going to come up. We do not. I'm so happy we won the game. And Matt brought this up earlier to do. I'm so happy we won the game. I do not understand what we do in the second half. Tactics, not bringing subs off, people on to save players. I don't understand it at all. I'm super happy we won the game. That's Parkinson's way. I think results went good. So overall, I think the second half was good for the fact that we didn't lose the game, but I don't understand the tactics. 3-0.
Yeah. No.
3-0.
I'm with you. And then finally, what we'll do is we'll bring in Sheldon. I'll let him lead, and then I'm going to grab a copy of that link and send it out to the chat so everybody can do it. And then we'll try and get caught up on the chat and go through, as we're already drawing 111 from all of the streams. Some of those are Twitter, some of those are YouTube, some of those wherever you're watching. I think I'm out on Twitch and
I'm
Facebook.
on Twitch. Yeah,
and
fair
so
play. It looks
Throw
good.
this one out there. There's the link. You click on that. We'll bring you in. You can have a chat. You can express your thoughts. As I guess we'll probably just do the Wrexham game first, Sheldon. After, do you want to test your microphone first? No. Is that just
fine? Yeah.
He was fine with you. So I don't know what that is. We'll boot you out again. We'll always have you back. And the tech gremlins of doing this sort of thing are always fascinating, but I think easier to manage here than on stream, on Spaces on Twitter. So let's go through our match. As to we came out, you said goal of the year already on the second goal, but let's talk about the first one. And the first Cannon goal was kind of cheering for the hat trick. There's not much to talk about other than the goals. That may be the issue. Was there a controversy? I mean, we can talk about the ref, but there was nothing really controversial, I thought. It was what it was. But go ahead and for me, the first one was Cannon really just taking the bull by the horns, got the ball in the middle of the field and ran forward. And Tharn, I thought, for Grimsby had an absolutely atrocious game.
Go ahead, Matt.
I mean, I'd fire the goalkeeper tomorrow if that like dived under the ball or something, didn't he? It was a bit of a clanker, but nobody seemed to give him much stick, interestingly, which was I found but yeah, I mean, goalie error. But if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery, do you?
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I get that. I just thought that both this play and then the later one where Mullen scored, Tharn had the opportunity to block, to do better, to clear, to do something. And in both instances, he gave it to us. But I don't know. How did you see that one, Josh? The first one anyway, where Cannon just danced in and plotted it in the left part of the net.
I felt, I think he has it in his locker. He doesn't do it all. Doesn't do it a ton. He definitely has a good shot on him. I think did he score the cracker in the FA Cup game against Blackburn?
I'd have to bring that up. I can go ahead and do that while you guys are. While you're talking about the goal itself.
Sorry, yeah. I would normally do. I usually I think that. Anyways, I thought it was a good settling goal. We don't usually get those early goals. So I think put our tails up. And to your point, God damn it, Sean, you're right. Grimsby didn't show up. So it's just Hugo says yes. They didn't show up, and the second half was just dead. Absolutely dead. But Cannon had a good strike. Cannon had a good strike.
Anything to add, Matt?
No, I'm not on the first one's a goalkeeping clanger, but as I say, it's we'll take it every day of the week, won't we? Because we've been craving a good start and early goals. And I did text one of my friends today and said, God, what I wouldn't give for an early goal to settle us all down. And lo and behold, we got what we prayed for.
Yeah, it was. And I get that you can blame the keeper somewhat for that, but the thing that surprised me, and I think it actually surprised Cannon because you kind of saw the hitch step delay before he moved forward, was how much open space he had. No defender coming out. He's in the middle of the pitch. Like, that's prime territory to have a crack. And he almost went a little bit too close, but even then, there was still time for Tharn to get out there, and nothing. If that was the game prior, we know that would have been blocked, right? How many blocks were there?
Well, yeah. You're right.
But it wasn't. Yeah, settle it down, get all through it, and I was all for it. Then the magic goal.
Oh yeah.
I won't even introduce it. Josh, you called it potential goal of the year, so I think it's incumbent on you to end up describing it, and then we'll talk about it. And
we were on our stream. I think at the time, and I'm going to call Ivan out. I think at the time, and here there's a backstory that I don't know if anyone's watching. He was saying, "What do you see out of what makes Mullen a great player?" Or whatever it is, whatever he said at the time, right? And he's not here to defend himself, so I'll let him do that. So he said, what makes Mullen a great player? And then right out the bat, bang, Mulls does a 1-2, nice left-right, gets it out to Stash. Stash has a nice 2 steps out, puts it through ball, and Andy Cannon in stride puts it in the back of the net. And I'm like, well, he started that, and I was like, that's probably our best goal of the season, and what we have been lacking that was like spark and getting us going. I thought we would kick on and do more, but that to me was like an indicative of exactly what Mulls can do and the quality that's on the pitch. And I was like, shit, man, that's a goal. Sorry to swear. I apologize.
Yeah, no, hey, it doesn't offend me. I'm easy. If any of the 162 and rapidly increasing have a problem, like buttons also work as well as subscribe buttons. But Matt, what did you see on that one that you thought, loved, hated? Won't hate any part of it, but go ahead and tell us what your thoughts.
I think what I loved was the finish from Cannon, but the ball from Tom O'Connor, Stash as Josh calls him, the ball with his right foot, I believe. The key to it is the weight, because that allows Cannon to hit that sort of, I'm going to say almost early, but he doesn't have to think about crossing it or what he's going to do. So I'm, that pass is a thing of beauty. But the finish from Cannon, we've only seen that fleetingly from him, really, just here and there. So it's nice for him to get a couple, and for him to show us that. And I can't remember whether I said this as I bobbed into your stream, Josh. I think the key today was Tom O'Connor allowing Cannon to go and do a bit more of that box to box and get forward and not have to worry about basically covering for everybody else. And I thought that was perhaps Tom O'Connor's his hidden attribute today.
True. Sorry, true on that. Like, we noticed that too, and I think you talked about it, Sean, on one of your last streams, having Lee in that pocket on the left side. You brought that up, I believe, and having him pushed up a little bit forward. I think that Tom Stash opened it up a little bit more, but it allowed that to happen. I think we mentioned that last stream as well.
Yeah, it was an interesting one for me because Matt, you identified that pass was a thing of beauty. It was in the perfect spot to get a full extension on a one-touch hammer job that Cannon was happy to deliver on. And I just looked up the stats. Cannon has 3 goals. He scored 1 against Harrogate. He scored in the second round of the FA Cup against Yeovil, and then he scored in the 4th round against Blackburn. This is now his 4th. And I believe one of those was an absolute screamer, and I can't remember which one that was.
Yeah,
It's the Blackburn. It's the Blackburn.
It was the Blackburn one.
I was there. I can't even remember it.
Yeah. That's how you're 49.
Like this.
But I just to take a little bit of a divergence here, and I say that knowing and appreciating that, Josh, you have a lot of love for Stash or Tom O'Connor, is he had some rust, and it wasn't his passing as much as I found it was his first touch. Like usually he's a vacuum or he's Velcro and balls stick to him and they end up on the floor at his feet. He had a couple of bad passes, but it was more the first touch. I was like, whew, he needs to have a run. Somebody did mention in our watch party on the Stockport that he's potentially playing in a reserve match on Tuesday. Which I thought, A, do they have a reserve match? And B, why would you put TOC on that one on a Tuesday when he ran the whole thing? But something to keep an eye out for. I'm not sure if that person knew or not, but it was nice to have him out there in any event, banging out that rust. And I thought, although the subs came late, I was glad that he was able to use it for the entire 90 minutes. Maybe before we get out to the subs,
can I just follow up on something you've just said?
Yeah.
And what I've noticed from watching Tom O'Connor, and Aaron Hayden is exactly the same. Just going what you've said about his first game back, he's one of those players that needs 3 to 5 games to get to start getting dominant and be at full flow. Some players can come back straight away and pick it up really early, but I've noticed Tom O'Connor and Aaron Hayden are particularly, they need the game time.
Well, then play him on Tuesday.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they have, at least if it is a reserve game, at least give him 45 minutes maybe, and and then rest him. But it'll be interesting to see that because that is he gets a knock or something ahead of Friday. That would be a risk.
I got nervous. He went down to have a tackle, held his thigh. I think he got stepped on, and I was really surprised that he played 90. I was really, really surprised.
Unless Parky knows he's not going to start him, and he's already made the decision to play McLean in midfield, but Mendy going off with what looks like a dead leg, but I'm not sure what that was. That puts that at jeopardy, you would have thought.
Mm-hmm. And they do play. They play Burnley at home on Tuesday, the 26th.
Right.
Yeah.
So there is the possibility they could get out some more rust. He's young. He'll bounce back. He's
24, right? He's 24, right?
I believe so. Let me just jump back. And
I know that from my EAFC. I think he's 24, 25. On that note, how did McFadden do? You mentioned him coming out, Mendy coming out. How do you think we did? I mean, he played,
okay.
I thought he didn't do anything wrong, did he?
He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything amazing. He had that one little play in the corner, and I'm trying to exactly remember what happened that I was complimentary for, and I can't remember why I was complimentary for.
Is that because he's so down your depth chart that you don't pay attention?
Don't care. I mean, I will.
Yeah.
I will say
McFadden was fat.
Well, that was in a private chat. You're not supposed to read the private chat.
He's barrel-chested. He's not fat.
No safety. Sheldon, I'll bring you in here and see how that's going. For everybody else, I'll copy and paste this one out there. There.
He's put it in there. See, it doesn't matter. He's put it in
Beautiful.
Oh, Jesus,
Sheldon, we'll draw you in. You can talk about McFadden if you want to. We can go over the third goal. The link is there again. Anybody who clicks that, jump in. We'll bring you in, have a chat, and just interrupt ourselves as we coerce. Sheldon, test that mic.
Hello.
Hey. Gremlins fixed.
Okay.
What's the cup?
So it's on you, Sheldon. You can talk goals. You missed the first two. We haven't done the third one yet. You can talk about TOC. You can jump about McFadden. If you had something to go on, feel free to share your thoughts on that one as I try to get through the chat and bring this stuff in.
Before I start, is this an explicit video or a non-explicit video? Where do I draw the line?
It's not explicit. It's not set up for mature audiences only. I was told the Aussies weren't joining us.
Okay,
but
that's
as Ryan said in that interview, PG-13 gives you 2 curse words and
that's it. Over.
Right. So
okay,
so go ahead and fire it up.
I can break that in one sentence, so I'll just not do it. Okay, so love the win. Love the fact we're pushing. Great coming into Mansfield next week. If we can take them out and take another 3 points, we're in excellent shape for the end of the season. However, I am sick and tired of not playing positive football. Right? I came onto this after 90 minutes, after the Accrington Stanley, and I opened with, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. The first half was great. We scored our goals, we took our chances, we played, and we looked like a top 3 team. And then what happened after Accrington Stanley? We came out and did nothing. And now what did we do in this game? Very similar. Now, I don't mind doing nothing if that's what you're telling the players to do. We've got our lead. We're happy with our 3 points. Don't do anything stupid. Fine. What is he doing with his substitutions?
Why
on earth was
we haven't
gotten
there yet? We haven't gone negative town yet. We haven't gone there yet.
I'm going to vent just a little bit and then calm. So that's my big issue. Is again, it's all back to this. It's like I actually am much more negative when we win than when we lose. It's so weird. It's like, why can you not come out of a match where we won 3-0 and be happy at the end of it? I should be able to. I should be able to enjoy the second half and not be complaining about this stupid stuff. So that's my point. If you want to go defensive, take a striker off, go to one striker, do something. Change it to defensive, and off you go. And at least it's for a reason. Yeah. I just hate this. Leave the team together. And do you know what? It's not as if we don't need the goal difference. Because what? Okay, we might end up in a draw and lose on goal difference. Because that's not going to happen. Yeah, right. We'll see. Yeah, it's like, I'm so annoyed. We won. And I want to come on here with a 3-0 and say, woohoo, well done. And well done to the team. Yeah. Because I honestly believe the team did what they were told. And I think there's probably people in our team that are completely unhappy with how they were told to do that second half. Yeah. And if you look at Stockport, how did Stockport play the second half?
Well, they scored in the death with a 5th goal, right?
Okay, but yeah, ignoring the fact that they scored, how did they play? They played like they wanted to score for the whole 45 minutes.
Well, yeah.
Okay, look, flow
but yes,
of play.
I'm with
and
you.
that sort of stuff.
There was more
They didn't go
desire to come
defensive.
forward with the ball and apply
Yeah.
pressure than Wrexham delivered in the second half. For me, I don't care. Get me the 3 points. We're so far off the goal for difference thing. Giving
Right.
away the one was unfortunate. But
Yeah.
I'm happy taking
I agree. I'll try and relax. Right.
Should we talk about a goal, or did Josh or Matt, do you want to weigh in on that one before we talk the third goal?
I do agree with you. The issue is substitutions. That's
on the subs. Yeah, I was just. We're always trying to think. You're 3-0 up. I'm just trying to think. Oh, Friday's going to be tough. I personally would have liked to see. I said Moles, I think is what I said. Moles and O'Connor, I think I said. I thought might have been good to rest ahead of Friday. Oh, just to not to rush O'Connor or irritate anything. And because Moles, I think, still is our most dangerous attacker. So I wanted to wrap him up in cotton wool. So I was just I was of the same. I think we're in the same boat, Sheldon. From what if I'm reading what you're saying as the same. And I was a bit frustrated for Jack Marriott. Just because I thought he's supposedly got this hat trick. Granted, it's against it's in a
supposedly. Do you think they misreported it? Was
it's against a youthful side, right? So you've got some context to it. But then I'm like, surely you give him half an hour today when you're 3-0 up to rest Moles and to give him the opportunity to go and get his goal. And whoever else, that maybe people are thinking of other players that they would protect. And I just thought that was a wasted opportunity to perhaps do that and we would have had a different performance in the second half with a couple of fresh legs early. Maybe getting Luke Young on, or I actually said McFadzean. I said I'd actually like to see McFadzean get on, and ironically got on because of an injury, not because of perhaps just to give him the chance. So I think we're in. I think that's what Sheldon is basically saying. It's just about a bit of squad management. Is what I would say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you think?
If you want I'm gonna sort of. I won't echo exactly what you said. That was I wanted Marriott, and I was calling for him earlier. He deserved to get on because he scored the 3. Rest Moles 100%. The McFadzean thing. Look, I don't have an issue. He came in. He played the role. He was good. I have an issue with the fact that we on the governance side, we left a spot open, and we didn't go and get somebody. That's a different problem. And I guess the issue that you have to consider is if you're getting a free agent in, it's somebody who's not playing. Are they going to be up to par and be ready to go? Are they familiar with the team? So it just made sense. But I would have rather have used that spot. And I think I said somewhere that if it was a bust, the January window has been a bust. You've got Marriott, who hasn't done anything and is not allowed to do anything. You've got Bolton, who's been okay.
Today.
Been okay. And then who's our extra person that we brought in? Well, it's McFadzean. But it doesn't matter. But that's where I want to get to but it doesn't matter. Let's look at the positive stuff. We're pushing for promotion. We're in 3rd place. We got a 3-point gap. We had a good game today. We've got a massive 6-pointer against Mansfield, which if we control, we are all spinning, doing cartwheels, and everything is good as rainbows and butterflies all float around us. It's a good time. But Parky does make me ask those questions. And so, Josh, I'll let you go and you had something to go on.
I was just thinking the same thing about you. It's like we want to be so positive, right? And it's like almost, out of just like, hey, we got the 3 points, but I want to understand it. I'd love to understand why. The man management, as you just mentioned, I'd love to understand why. And wrapping in the cotton wool for sure. Games on Friday also too. Let's put it this way: the game's on a day earlier. It's on Good Friday, so we don't get that extra day rest. So what are you playing them so long for? And if we're going to go dead in the second half anyways, right? We're not going to actually put anything out. Why keep them on? Granted, we did give up a goal because I think we were sitting back too deep and, what it was. But, I want promotion. I don't care how we win. We'd be 1-0, 95th minute. Don't care. A dodgy goal. I don't care. But I just want to understand the man management. And Sheldon brought up a point earlier on the Stockport game. He was saying, are there other things at play? I don't know. Is it because, what else is it? Are they playing crap in the during the week? They're not impressing. What is it? Or is it like a time management thing? I'm not sure. But so you got to think about those. Like, why are they not coming on earlier?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to have to go into the multitask mode because I'm having a good time having the chat, but I'm also going to have to bring up the the preview to the football match of Canada and Trinidad as we go through it. Let's talk the third goal. A reminder for everybody: we're increasing the numbers that are coming and joining and watching live. Whether that's through the local pundit, whether that's through Matt, me, wherever you're at, Twitter, whatever. There's a like button. Go ahead and hit it. More importantly, there will be a link. And I'll even put it in here again because the whole idea of this and the magic behind it, as much as I do enjoy talking to these guys and sharing our thoughts.
He's always trying to kick us off and get other people on.
Yes, that's the whole plan. No, is to hear other people's opinions. Why did you fall in love with the club? Even from that, you don't have to talk about this game if you weren't able to watch it. If you had a question and you said, I wasn't watching it and I heard this or I thought this, but just jump in and we'll be able to figure things out a little bit different because we don't have anyone. It's always nice when Matt or Baz or somebody's at the game and is able to say this happened away from the ball. There was talk about no Mulls chant. Can we? Yeah, I'll attend to that. So why don't we talk about the third goal? If you guys want to go around the horn, and I'm gonna jump onto something and do some cleaning here.
Go ahead.
It was just brilliant Mulls, wasn't it? It's just exquisite, and the timing was exceptional because it's just put the game. I know we're all looking at the spam now in the comments, but it put the game to bed really. So, but what a finish of somebody who I don't think if he hasn't scored those goals that he has recently, he probably doesn't. He probably sticks that in row X or something, doesn't he? It's because he's got a little bit of confidence from the recent games. The captain's armband, of course, today. And I think it just, I thought it was, is exquisite the right way? I thought it was a great goal. It was a great goal.
There was another
Are you doing a watch along, Sean?
I'm going to do the watch along for the Mansfield match. I'll do all the watch. And then the first, we're going to do the group one, right? That's the plan. Yeah, I'll come up with a graphic and send it out to everybody about the mass one. And then we'll do the watch along for the game that I should be at in Doncaster.
Okay.
And we'll get that all out there. I'm trying to grab these and send the blocks out and do my thing. And I've missed some chats and I apologize for that. We'll come back to it. That one was another one that I put on Tharn as well, though, because that Mendy muff shot that he muffed it. It landed to Tharn and he muffed it and it landed on Mulls and he just bullied it, right?
Just a pirouette. Just a great
pirouette.
Goal.
I don't know. I was joking about this as I was watching the MK Dons Stockport matches. If I was a fan of a team that lost today, I don't know if I would be more pissed off as a Grimsby fan upset at Tharn or at an MK Dons fan upset at their manager. And I say that because they went with that 18-year-old kid up front instead of their top goal scorer. And they went with a 22-year-old low-minute center back instead of Norman, who I know he was banged up a month ago, but I thought was back. I could be wrong, and somebody can clarify if they're a Dons fan and know the details. But I thought bold move by a manager. You're going into a 6-pointer, and you go with an 18-year-old kid who's had 300 minutes in the league. What the flying hell are you? So I guess maybe we make that a poll question. Who would you be more pissed off as a Grimsby fan at Tharn? Do we have others that we can put on the list from the collection of games that we saw today?
Parky for risking Mullen.
Just about
Parky for leaving Mullen
maybe.
on? Yeah.
But just on Tesjil, I mean, he's really highly regarded, you know. That's the caveat. The little asterisk is, but this guy is that, you know, they think he's potentially, you know, I don't want to say world class, but because you're putting it, you know, but they think he could go far if he stays on the straight and narrow. So that's the only caveat I would say to that. But I understand what you're saying. It's you know, it's a risky.
Oh, it's getting risky in the chat. It's risky in the chat.
That's interesting from Emma. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and I I turned it off because I was jumping ship right away to get over to the next match, and so I didn't hang around like I usually do and pick up that sort of stuff.
But in fairness, Mullen wasn't on the pitch.
Yeah.
He
So
does do it when he's at
sometimes,
home.
you know,
I'm not
yeah.
sure. It's hard to know. We don't know. Did they need to get off? Did they need to get to a flight or a bus or what? It's hard to know the context, isn't it?
It could be anything. He could have walked off and had an early shower or got changed early. Who knows? You know what I mean? The last
granted,
2-3 minutes, he just went and had a shower. Who knows?
Yeah, and we're going granular, trying to read. We're looking into something.
Yeah.
No, we're definitely going granular. I mean, Christ. My father-in-law was listening to us last week. He was sitting next to me listening to us on the post 90. Sean and Matt and Shell. He was like, "You guys really get into it." And he's from Minnesota. He's like, "You guys really like get deep into it." He's like, "Good on you guys." I was like, "Yeah, first time caller, long time listener. Like, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Like, you guys get in the weeds." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Do you want to come on?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like 71 years old. I don't know if I understand it. Like, yeah, but if you have an opinion, we'd love to hear it. You know, but like, get granular. Like, Mullen didn't fist pump this guy. Is it going tits up in the locker room? So, it's cool. That's why we do it. It's awesome. Really cool.
That's an interesting point from Kim. What fans can be annoyed at?
Yeah.
Where's that one? Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, I've got a problem with. I'm trying to multitask here.
I can. The chat says I think Mullen's the type of player who would get annoyed if subbed off really early. He wants to play and push the team on. I mean, is that? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, it's probably true.
Or do you think he needs minutes? I mean, let's go back to what we were talking about earlier about some players need minutes. Is Moles one of those guys that you think he needs to have the minutes? I don't.
No.
But
especially as recently we were talking about him. Parky was talking about him carrying an injury recently a few weeks ago, and we weren't sure whether
injections in the back.
Yeah, we weren't sure if he would start the next game. He kind of left it as if, it was almost like he was warning us through the press that he might not start the game. So you would think that they would think, well, let's just not take any risks here, I guess. But I think Josh is right. I think, you can look into things too much, can't you?
Ruby slippers, fist. Jesus H. Yeah, I mean,
that's great, Jesse. Yeah, should we concentrate? We've sorted Kate.
Too soon.
Did we crack that then? Did we?
Yeah. Mulls needs goals. Jesus Christ. What do we have? Are there any games tomorrow, or is it just the Friday games? No, right?
No, we're done now until Friday, and then quick turnaround to the Monday, Tuesday, isn't it? Let me just grab my.
There's no Tuesday game in the league, is there?
No. Sorry, that's the following week. Week. I'm so scrambled with where things are at. We're at the 23rd. We'll be back on Good Friday on the 29th, and then back on the 1st. It's a relatively quick turnaround after that.
That's the game we're all going to do together. Oh, my God.
And so we've got. Let's just bring these up here.
The women play.
So there's games on Tuesday. Oh no, that's last week. Let me go to the schedule and not to the previous one. So we're nothing until Friday the 29th. All kickoffs are at 8:00 in the morning. So everything's going to run on the 29th the way we run. Then we're back on the Monday. So that's Saturday, Sunday off. Back again on Monday, and that's all of the teams except for us. We're the only team that's playing on Easter Tuesday. So we'll have to figure that one out. And so that's an 11:45 start here, 2:45 on the East Coast, 7:45 out at
for you and me. Yeah, for you and me.
And we go back. You guys change your clock over that weekend, I believe, over Easter. Is it this weekend or Easter weekend?
Next weekend.
Next weekend. And so they'll be back on normal operating procedures for us.
Matt, when are you running your race? When's your race?
April 14th.
Oh God bless you.
Got a while yet. We got 3 weeks tomorrow, I think, isn't it? I think if that's right.
Okay.
So,
I was going to say, are we going to be up by then? Hopefully, we'll be up by then.
I mean, that's ambitious, Christ.
Sheldon brought up something earlier too. Speaking about going up, Sheldon said that Sheldon was saying earlier that the Stockport match might not come into play in any shape or form. I don't know, what the logic is that. Like, because it's the last game of the season. Should things be sorted out by then? Is that, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Okay. The comment I made was we were talking about 6-pointers. And I said that our match with Stockport may not be relevant at that point because 6-pointer only counts if we can catch Stockport. If they're ahead of us by more than 3 points, it's not a 6-pointer.
Mhm.
It just means we need the points to stay ahead of someone else, not to catch Stockport by keeping them at a 0. So it's not a true 6-pointer. Unless, of course, that is the difference between staying up and going down, and we're fighting Stockport for third place.
I think the Mansfield game is potentially a 6-pointer because they lost today, or they drew today.
Well, Mansfield
is huge.
Mansfield's massive.
Mansfield's huge.
But you look at what we were looking at was the games where the teams aren't really playing for anything anymore. Like you look at the Colchester, the Sutton, and the FGR games. The FGR starts their 5-week run of games, 5 matches of games against the top 5 next week.
Yeah.
But they're all playing for something. If you start to look the other way and say it's the teams that don't have anything to play for, and as that window closed, now I don't like our schedule as much because we've got Mansfield next, and I'm going to have to throw this up over here, I think, as I'm going to eavesdrop on the Canada game. You've got the Mansfield game next, Doncaster, that means nothing, but then you've got Colchester, Crawley, Forest Green, and Crewe. All of those games matter for playoffs to avoid relegation or otherwise. We've only got one game out. You look at the other games that are around, like the MK Dons, they've got Notts, they've got Harrogate. We've got a bit of a tougher schedule for at least as playing teams where the games matter.
Mm-hmm. We had said like teams that don't give a crap anymore, like you're saying, like they're already sorted out. What channel's your Canada game?
What team is my which? Sorry.
I'm trying to see what the Canada game, but I found England Brazil.
Right. I think this is easier to look at backwards. Okay. So our last match is Stockport. What is the likelihood that Stockport versus us is particularly important between the two teams? I don't think it will be. I expect that Stockport are already safe by that stage, and they're guaranteed to be in the top 3 unless they go on a massive slide. So for them, it might not be that important. It may be important to us just to keep our 3rd position. Previous to that, then we have Forest Green Rovers. Is that correct?
No,
yeah.
Crewe.
Crewe. Sorry, Crewe. We need Crewe to lose a couple in the next few matches. We need them to slide far enough back that they are not getting an automatic promotion. Now, we can be fighting with MK Dons, but we don't want to be fighting with Crewe because we have to play them in the second last match. If they're comfortable and in the promotion spots, cannot win automatics, that's better for us. Every team wants to beat us, but that's a separate issue. So at least they can't get automatics. That would be preferable. Then we have the Forest Green Rovers. By that stage, we want them to have been relegated. That's
way out or way safe?
Yeah. Well, no, they won't be way safe. There's no way they'll be way safe. But they could be done and dusted, that there is no chance, or at least virtually no chance, that they're going to get out of relegation. That would be preferable. And then we have Crawley Town, the match before. So that's 4 matches, the one I'm going to. Preferably, if they go on a little bit of a run in the next couple of matches before they play us, they're comfortable in promotion, but again, they can't get automatics. As long as they're not worried about sliding outside of that 7th position, they don't have anything particularly to play for, except for style points for taking out Wrexham. So it depends on how their matches go.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting run in one way or the other. Only my second experience of going through the whole chaos. So yeah. I know I'm going to get distracted, but I'm enjoying having the chat. What else do we talk about that game? Were we missing anything? Let's talk about the referee. Ole Yates, one of the most experienced guys out there, 4 ways through and came as scripted, doesn't call a lot of fouls, and when he does, he gives the cards. I thought he let a lot of it go. We were joking that it was like old-time hockey, and we were talking Slapshot movie references, if you don't know Slapshot being a old-school ice hockey movie. And I see Hugh has lined up to join us, so I'll bring him in here in a moment. He's joined us on the chat. But what did you think of the referee and the quality of the game and how that went?
Can I just give the stat for someone? I'll give it to Matt real quick. Matt, I'll give it to you. Me, the wife, and Wrexham do a great job. Me, the wife, Wrexham AFC do a great job at his stats. I passed my League Two stats: 13 appearances. This is before the match. 61 yellow cards, 3 yellow to red, and 2 total red cards. 5 penalties given. Gave a red card to Cannon and Evans on Crawley and Colchester. Sorry, that's it. That's the.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'd seen that a couple of days ago, or whenever it got posted, and was fearful. But yeah, there was a lot. A lot of the niggly ones that normally get given, the little pushes and the nudges and players falling over. It was like he'd been taken over by somebody else today. He wasn't his usual self. And I was waiting for him to blow up for fouls, and I was like, oh, this is quite nice. So very unoffensive. And I thought he did all right.
As long as it's consistent and it doesn't influence things where what you end up, I always hate the ones where you're either calling everything or you're letting everything play. And then all of a sudden in the 75th minute, when somebody's the whistle blows and you're like, what the hell is happening there? And that didn't happen today. So I'm okay with it. There were a couple of chintzy ones. Sorry?
I said, or it leads to an injury. Sorry, this is the delay. I apologize.
Yeah, and there were a couple of chintzy ones that maybe happened. I'm just going to grab Hugh in and see what his thoughts are. So Hugh, there you are, sir. Thanks for joining us again. I'm just going to bump Sheldon, who's just taking a break, and he'll be right back. Hugh, where did you watch the game from? Did you watch the games? What did you think of that?
I haven't watched anything, but I did see the first goal on Sky Sports on a little link. So, as I said, I just listened. I was listening to you, Sean, in the first half, even into the second half. And then I went onto the Wrexham website to get my audio, because I do pay for that anyway. So I got, it wasn't Mark Griffiths this week. It was, anyway, it was 2 other guys. I forgot the names now. Colin Henry's was on it, I think. Yeah, it was pretty boring to listen to, because you had 3-0 half time, but they did get a goal. I was a bit worried, but not that worried, no. But as you said, it was like a dead half, wasn't it?
It was, but how novel was it?
Yeah.
Sorry?
I said, how novel was it to have a dead half? When was the last time that Wrexham played a dead second half?
Away from home, especially.
Away from home, especially.
We're doing it quite often. I mean,
not on purpose.
we did against Accrington, didn't we? We talked about it, But I tell you, I've got an explanation. You're wondering, yeah. I think, first of all, as I've said in the chat, I think that Parkinson is quite anxious. Somebody who shouts at referees and makes a big fuss about fouls, which, are valid, but he jumps up and down, shouts, swears, whatever, gets sent off a lot. He's obviously anxious. So he's going to be anxious about not taking off his best players. They've got a 3-0 win. Leave them there. I don't lose. I don't want to. Now, another thing I want to put into
pressure.
this.
Pressure's mounting. The pressure's mounting.
Yeah. Pressure's on. But also, remember the things we did at the beginning of this season? That was because of a different reason, but also in the past, the season we went up and the season before. Remember these scores? 6-5 from 2-5 against Dover.
Yeah.
7-5 against Barnet at home. 5-4 loss to Grimsby in the playoff semi-final. He doesn't want those type of games. He wants to get 2 or 3 goals ahead, control it. He doesn't want it to, we could have gone gung-ho and said, probably he's wrong, but maybe sometimes he's right, We could have thought, right, let's get a 5th, let's get 4, 5, 6, And then they get 1, then they get 2, and maybe we don't get a 5th, it's 4-2, and they get he's just scared of a open game and end-to-end football.
Mm-hmm.
We've done it. We haven't done a lot of that, but it has happened, and it's not good. It's not good for morale either.
I take your point with that. I mean, a change in tactics would have been fine to have one striker come forward. If not, Marriott to me is just as bulldogish. Doesn't certainly have hasn't demonstrated he's got the same closing power that Mullen has by any stretch. But as far as being a bulldog on the ball defensively as a striker coming back, he's responsible. So I'm comfortable with him in that role, and certainly with Fletcher. So for me, I just didn't get it with the Friday turnaround, the Tuesday turnaround, and then this final Saturday. We've got games coming in short order here. I would have liked to have seen a long-term, a little bit more management.
I was thinking we're going to get 5. I actually said in the chat we'll get 5. We'll get 5 or 6. Keep a clean sheet. But it went the other way. We let one in and we didn't score anymore. It was boring. Yeah, it was boring. And you see teams carry on and they get more goals. They get the goal difference up. I don't know. It's hard to know. But I think I'm only trying to explain why Parky does it. I'm not saying he's doing I don't think he's doing the right thing. But I'm explaining that he just doesn't want. Once he's got a 3-goal lead, he doesn't want to take any chances. Because
no, I'm all for the explanation. It absolutely makes sense.
The points are the most important thing, aren't they? But also, I do agree. This Marriott lad, he's got a bit of a pedigree, and he's running down his own. Well, his career is being run down at the moment because he's supposed to be a good striker. He's done very well about 3 or 4 years ago.
He's got to be someone for next year. At this point, I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it looks. It looks like right now it's got to be someone for next year. I mean, it just doesn't look like it's in the cards for him to have a steady, to be steady.
Well, he's got an 18-month contract. He'll give him a bit of a chance next year, probably. But I don't know. But you never know. These players, they're playing, they're involved, they're on the bench. Who knows? We might get into a serious scrap, or every game is, I can see when we play Stockport the last game. I'm worried about that. When we play Mansfield as well, coming up, these will be games where it could be one of those games we can't avoid. It's be end to end. They score 1, we score 1, they score 2. Then we have to go back. He doesn't want that, but that's when these players will come in. Maybe I don't know. But maybe they need a chance before that, But anyway, that's my thoughts. I don't say anymore. I've said too much. I think I
appreciate you, Hugh. This is exactly what we wanted, was the opportunity for people to come in here and share their thoughts. So I'm definitely thankful for you. I'm going to go grab you and bring Sheldon back in, because I think Josh is about to bounce out at some time soon. So we'll give him an opportunity to do that. So let's I'll bump you, Hugh. Thank you so much. That's exactly what we want. Click the link down below. I'll put it in the chat again. Come in and join us, and we'll go about bringing that. So Sheldon, just hold on. Josh, you've got commitments, so go ahead and tell us your wrap up and what you're doing over at the local pundit in the immediate.
Well, I'll put it out first. Great job, Sean, on what you're doing, and Matt and Sheldon as well. Good community we're all building in this. I think it's indicative of exactly what Wrexham is thinking, what the show will be about. So awesome to see. On us, we'll do a Wrexham reaction tomorrow, which will be a tentative title that I'll have to work out with Matt.
You can have it. It's fine.
No.
I'm going with the sequel. It's fine.
Go ahead, tell them what it is.
Oh no! Don't want to spoil the surprise.
No, don't spoil it.
Tune in tomorrow to Josh's stream and to find out.
Then Matt's on the week, and then again
Matt later Tuesday.
Tuesday, and then credit to Sean, what he's doing here is awesome. But I'll be live tomorrow for the Wrexham reaction, and fun stuff, man. This is really great, and really just happy to be a part of it. And so we'll see you guys all soon. And I've been on for 7 hours now. At least you got 4 hours of sleep. There you go, Sean. You guys are great. All right, we'll see you guys soon, man. I gotta go take care of the rest of life. You know what I mean? What time tomorrow?
I'll let you all know. Have a good night, Josh. Sorry.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
See you, Shell. Bye.
Local
Matt.
pundit,
Yeah.
go over there, hit
Take
the
care.
subscribe buttons and the likes and all that sort of stuff. All right, cheers, Josh.
Hey, guys.
Stephen Jones, pleasure to see you. Just wanted to address this one and talk about the back line because we've obviously got the changeover here with TOC. Where's he going to slide in? McLean comes back. Do we want to start taking guesswork? Stephen, do you want to click the link and come in and tell us your thoughts? Does somebody want to, Sheldon or Matt, you guys want to go first? You want me to hit that one? Because I've been debating it in my head and I don't think I have an answer.
Does it depend on Mendy? If that was a dead leg, which is what people were saying, then he'll possibly be okay. So that then gives us the flexibility to put McLean wherever he wants, doesn't it?
Move McLean around. Let's go with that. Mendy's back. Because I think it's easier if Mendy's out. It's McLean's there, and then you've only got the decision of where TOC goes. Does he replace Boyle? Does he not replace Boyle?
You can't change that back line, can you? I know they've conceded a goal today, but you know, I struggle unless somebody's injured. I'd struggle. I wouldn't change that back line. I'd stick with it now. Even if you do prefer Tom O'Connor at the back, which I understand what some people are saying that he has to go back there straight away. I get that, but I think we need him in that midfield actually. At the moment. So keep him in reserve if one of the defenders goes down. I'd rather then move him than perhaps bring Tozer in out of the cold, out of nowhere.
Yeah. We had a period. Okay, we had a period worried about the back line, and that has passed. We are happy with the back line at the moment, and even the goals that do go in, or even a mistake here and there, so be it. Players will always make mistakes. I have not spoken about, or I've not heard people speak about being worried about the back line for months now.
Yeah, at least 8 games for sure.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. The old thing is no player should ever lose their position because of an injury. At least that's what, in North America we say that. So then that means if TOC is back and he's healthy, he slides back in. But I do understand and appreciate the fact that Boyle's been solid and TOC is needed in the midfield because if the question that I have is if George Evans was in the middle with Cannon and Lee, you're not touching the midfield.
Then James has just put that question in. I don't know if you can see that yet. That's basically exactly his point.
And let's scroll back to that one.
And I would agree with James in that scenario. Yes, I think when Evans comes back, yes, he is one of the best players we have in midfield. He needs to go back in, assuming he's fully fit and everything else. And then you would consider, okay, well now Tom O'Connor is of such a high level, we need to find space for him, and he slots back in. And Boyle maybe steps out, but Boyle has been doing really well. But he's not better, with fit players.
Agreed, but I think what Matt was getting at is you go with need, and you have to have that assessment of what's going on and where the gaping hole is at the moment. And I don't want to talk about depth charts and Luke Young. That first corner from Lee that went short again, I was like, why? And we had TOC, and TOC waved him to go and take it, and I was like, why are we doing this?
I have been thinking about this for the last few days, and I really hope I do it before the end of this season, right? I want to make a video of every corner with individual players, and I want to make a video saying, okay, this is Lee's corners, this is whoever's corners, McLean's corners, and I want to do a nice little graphic, and maybe I'm trying to learn some editing tools, so I might try and put like 3 corners in one shot and track them or whatever and put them at the same time. I want to do some fancy stuff. I want to teach myself. And I really want to do that before the end of the season, before everybody forgets and cares. But I want to do something like that. I want to play about with a video. I want to show the corners, and I want to kind of see if I can come up with a definitive answers. Never take a corner again for some players. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we haven't gone back and remembered in the early days some lovely corners from certain players without naming the person with 3 letters.
That's a little criminal, that one. How not, Kim just said, just title it how not to take corners.
But I'd like to do that, and if I get around to the time, I will.
Look at TOC's. I mean, Matt's seen more football in his lifetime than I will, I'm sure. But you could tell the distinct difference in the corners that TOC was delivering. He served 2 of them up, and they were both threatening in different locations. And
you've only got to beat the first man, and you're better than Elliot Lee, aren't you? It doesn't matter if it goes out of touch. You've just got to beat the first man. It's like...
I was even going to go worse than that and just make it anything playable anywhere in the box. I
mean, I don't know why we don't just do a Notts County and just play a short corner routine now. Seriously, if
we're not scoring from them.
Well, that's what he did the first one up. The first one up that he took was the short corner.
Yeah, but regularly, do that. If Lee's on the corners, just let's work it short and do something. I don't know why we don't just do that. Just work it to the side and then cross it. Something. Just try something different. Because to be fair, Mark Crichton said the defenders will be fed up because they run 30 yards up the pitch to stand there for the ball to hit the first man, and then they've got to sprint back. So even his own players will be like, "Oh, come on, Elliot, let's get this right, eh?"
I'm looking at the FOTMOB stats for the game that's going on, the Canada-Trinidad game, because it's nothing but all Canada all the time, but we're not scoring anything. 3 shots, 77% possession, 91% pass accuracy, but we're not sniffing around. For anybody who wanted the update on what I'm suffering through while we do this one.
Is it a qualifier of some description, is it?
Yeah, we lost out. We went to Jamaica up on aggregate, and we were up at the half by 2.
Yeah.
And then we gave away 3 in the second half and lost to Jamaica, who actually took the U.S. just recently. They were up 1-0 all the way through until extra time in the Gold Cup. And they used the Gold Cup to qualify for the Copa America. It's now the first time that they've combined CONCACAF and Copa and the
pray for sure.
They counterattack almost scored. They've combined Copa America as being CONCACAF and the CONMEBOL, whatever, the South American teams, for the first time ever. And so the pool has been picked. Argentina, Chile, Peru are all sitting there. Those are all quality teams that we want to run our World Cup qualifying national team up against. And if we lose this, we're going to get Honduras and Barbados again, which, not to slag those countries, but they're not the same level. So we'll see how it goes. There was a comment that was up there, and I tagged it and was hoping to get back to it, but I'm not going to go searching for it. Crewe is an interesting position when we end up playing them the second last game of the season.
Yeah,
that they may be looking to rest players for the playoffs. Is that a potential that if there's, because they're high enough up in the standings that they may end up having
they'll be comfortable.
Secured,
yeah,
and they'll be comfortable, and the game means nothing to them other than maybe a home game. But
if they're more than 6 points off third, they can't win anything except a better position.
Yeah.
But they want to have their full squad ready for playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a possibility that could go into our favor. I was hoping, and with the Knots win last weekend or on Tuesday, whenever they played their last match, and having that win against Bradford and thumping them, I thought maybe they can draw back into this. I was hoping they'd put up some fight because I wanted them to have the belief that they were playing for something. I think that's been stripped from them today. That gap of teams that don't care or don't matter, and not from the fans thinking they're out, but from the players who think that they're out. I think that window's getting larger and larger.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was going to say, each week now, it looks like you're going to have a team fall off. That they're technically able to do it, but realistically not. So every week now, that's going to get smaller and smaller, the group of teams that can get into the playoffs, because they're all close, but there's a couple just not close enough. Yeah.
So the cutoff is we were going with, is it somewhere between Harrogate and 13th at 54 points and Tranmere at 15th with 50 points. Or I think there was one person who said that they'd actually legitimately put it at Morecambe.
Yeah.
So
anyway, I was just going to follow up that and just say, I just wonder, with you saying about, might teams start resting players, the flip side to that is then if you run the risk of losing a game or two, do you lose momentum as well? So that would be the consideration. The truth is somewhere between the two, probably. Yeah. You wouldn't want to be going in after a couple of bad losses, but you also probably don't want to risk maybe one or two of your key, if you've got a key player or two. So that's the caveat on it, isn't it?
And that is true. But that also is the same scenario then, that, okay, if we are winning versus Crewe, as soon as we get to the second half and we're ahead, they'll rest their best players. which is what we're supposed to be doing. They'll turn around and say, okay, look, the chances of us taking Wrexham down now, they're ahead. There's only 30 minutes left. Get our best players off, get them rested, we're done. You know, the cutoff will be sooner in that sort of
Maybe.
scenario.
Yeah, okay.
Where do we go from here? Do we try to continue to foresee what's going to happen with the Mansfield one? I mean, what type of Mansfield team are we getting? Their form, they haven't been close to being suggested to be off form all season, but they've got 2 losses and a draw in their last 5. They lost to Tranmere 2-1. They lost to the Dons 2-1. They beat Swindon and thumped Bradford City, and then a draw against Colchester. This is a team that didn't lose at all early in the season, right? Remember, it was all wins and draws. What are we getting from them? And I don't think they have injuries. I think Stockport's has been getting their guys back, but I don't think Mansfield has very many in the source of injuries. No. What are we anticipating there?
Can I go first? Can I go first?
Yeah.
What we're getting? I haven't checked the table, so I could be out here. But from memory, we're getting the best defense, the best attack. Have they scored more than everybody else?
79 goals for is the best in the league as it sits right now. Second at 75. I'm just scrolling through. Goals against 37 is the best in the league. Yep.
Okay. One of the top managers in the league, and a cauldron with Sky Sports, all the build-up, and a chance for them to come, and they will probably think if they win this game, they've got 2 fingers on the trophy, not quite a hand, but they can touch it. Maybe I don't know what the right metaphor is. So I think this could be like that Notts County game. Wrexham will obviously be trying to do the opposite to try and stay in it.
Yeah.
Because I think there's an interesting point there from Michael. He says, are we still pushing for the title, or what are we doing? And that's why I wanted a draw today in that game at the end, because I didn't want the team behind us to catch us up and the team ahead of us to get too far away. But I think I'm in the minority though, because people seem to want Stockport to win it, and I was a bit taken by that.
Well, I think they just see the MK is the team below us, so keep the distance and keep the delta, right?
Yeah, but I don't know what you guys are feeling, but surely I want us to. If we aim to win the league and we fail, we still probably finish in the top 3.
Yes.
If we aim for 3rd and fail, we might finish 4th or 5th. I can't remember out. 4th, definitely. 5th is probably too far, is it? I can't remember. You get the idea.
I get your point.
And then who knows what? With the greatest respect, the playoffs can be a bit of a lottery in the end. Anything can happen. You don't really want to be in the bloody playoffs. So that's the reason I like that question from Michael. I'd be really intrigued to know what internally they must be thinking we're going to win it, mustn't they? Surely.
Well, I mean, from Wrexham's perspective, we're looking 3 points in every single game and win out the whole run, right? And that's the message. And we're not going to look at the scoreboard around us, and we don't care what everybody else does. If we get a break at the end of it, we get a break at the end of it. For me, I wanted to draw, not really because I was pushing for the championship, but because I think that the MK Dons, and I think I still believe this to be true, I think the MK Dons have a better chance of qualifying for automatic promotion than Stockport does, despite the outcome today. I just think with Stockport, they've been too much off form. Yes, they look good today, but I don't know if that's going to hold. And Mansfield is stumbling. So there's a real opportunity to push for first, but we just keep on winning. What did I want? I wanted the draw, because anytime you have 3 points or 2 points between the teams that are competing, you take the 2 points, even if that meant that the gap was narrower between us and falling out of it. I'm okay with that. Why? Because I trust us to do what we need to do. And I want to be able to push forward and strip points away from everybody else around us. Crewe, just because you weren't looking at the table there. So the Dons we have a game in hand over them. They're 3 behind us. So there is, a 3+ gap between us. Crewe, same number of games. We've got 5 points on them. And then interestingly, Barrow sort of drawing back in, undefeated in their last 5, 3 wins, 2 draws. They've kind of turned around their blip. They've got a game in hand on us. They've got 2 in hand on the Dons. And they're sitting at 64 points. So they're still sneaking around. After Barrow, it's a bit of a cliff to Crawleytown. You can make an argument that the Dons, certainly the Dons, but the Dons, Crewe, Alexander, Barrow are in the mix. But you've really got us, Stockport, and Mansfield in control, subject to a blip. And hey, I looked at the last 10 games before this one, and what's interesting is how bad we've been playing. And even though we're mid-table, in 10 games, we only lost 3 points to Stockport over that stretch. Or not Stockport, to the MK Dons, sorry, in that stretch.
Oh.
MK Dons, yeah.
Oh, I thought somebody had scored.
We missed an opportunity, like wide open in the center of the pitch, and he drove it right where the goalkeeper was sitting.
Right. This comes back to my argument that we are not necessarily playing positive football. Because if we are fighting for the league,
that's what Kim said, by the way, that comment from Kim.
So this is the question. Are we fighting for the league or are we fighting for promotion? If we are fighting for the league, every goal counts. Because we may end up on equal points with Stockport for any position. Be it second and third, no one cares. What if it's for first and second? What if it's for third and fourth? We are winning today 3-0, and we come out in the second half and we don't follow it up. We don't push. We don't play positive.
Or we argue that we were securing the 3 points. But
no,
I don't know if that's...
No, that's against my argument. That's my point. That is not positive football. Right? We are behind on goal difference. Right? We play our positive football. We are not going to lose because we're going to score more goals. And in the second half, if we score 2 goals, they might score 1. If we score 3 goals, they might score 2. We are still playing positive football. I do not agree with this negative, not negative, sorry, with the defensive idea.
Defensive neutrals.
Of going defensive. Do you know who goes defensive? Weak teams who are ahead.
I don't think it was intended, though. I don't think it was intended, because if it was intended, I think we would have made some change. Well, I guess Parky doesn't make changes. He keeps his shape. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I would, in most circumstances, I would have, great save. I would have expected that we would have had Tozer come in and played add him in the back or something along those lines, and really shelled up, or taken a forward off and at least added another. Well, we didn't really have any other midfielders to come in.
I would prefer, if Parky wanted to go defensive, that he actually went defensive. If he made changes and turned the side more defensive and said, okay, guys, we're 3 goals ahead. We've got our points. Don't fuck it up. That's okay. If he wants to do that, do it and stand on it and say, after the fact, if someone questions, you didn't score any goals in the second half. Yeah, but we didn't need to. We had 1. I changed the formation. We went defensive and we guaranteed our 3 points. I understand that. Yeah. But everything else that comes with this, I don't understand.
No, I
get that. I haven't seen Parky's interview. I don't know if anybody else has seen it.
No, I haven't yet either.
I'm assuming it's up, but I'm really torn on what you're saying, because I'm sure he would have gone out and gone, we've done a professional job in the second half, is how he will pass it off, won't he?
Yeah.
That's what we've controlled it, there'll be something on it. And I guess if you love attacking football, then I agree. You should go out and try and get 5 or 6. That would have been lovely, wouldn't it? Really send a statement to everybody to go, Friday, we're your next Mansfield, Yeah.
And this is kind of my point, is I hate half measures. Is either go out and continue to attack and push for more goals and go attacking and stay attacking positive football, or you make a set decision. Okay, we're going defensive. We've won the match. Don't screw up. I'm happy with that if he makes his decision and says, this is what I'm doing. But I hate this second half 0 goals. It makes no sense to me. Go defensive and defend it if you want, but go attacking and get more goals. I hate the middle ground here.
I was just reading Hugh's point there in the chat.
He said, the private chat. And Hugh, you're messaging in the private chat, so nobody else can see it. I don't know if that's intended or not, but we can see it, but nobody else can.
But Hugh just said that if you go defensive, you invite teams onto you.
Yes.
But that's fine if you've gone defensive in a way to knowing that's going to happen.
Yeah. Deal with it. Yeah.
You'll have a counter for that, won't you? Or you will be built just to absorb all the pressure. So that depends on how you do it, doesn't it? That's all.
I personally disagree with it. However, I would defend Parky's right to do it if he actively went defensive and if he actively changed formation or players or whatever in order to achieve that end. I would defend his right to do it. I wouldn't personally like it, but I'm not the manager. And this is the problem with Parky that I often find is I would love to defend his decisions. I would love to understand,
but he's got to make it.
But I can't figure it out. It's like, and the thing is, it's not just me. Okay, yeah, I'm not amazing at football. I'm not a genius. I don't expect to understand everything that's happening. But everybody I talk to, everybody in the chat, I'm like, please give me a reason or logic behind what you're seeing. And I can't figure it out. So that's why I don't mind. If he goes defensive and changes it to be defensive, I'll defend that and say, okay, I understand it. I don't understand leaving everything the same, not pulling your best players off, not protecting them for the next match, not saying we've won this match, all the guys I need to start the next match, get off. You're safe. You're not going to get a red card. You're not going to get an injury or whatever, and nobody can come up with logic as to why, except stubbornness.
Can I get into this comment here? And Mike, I don't want to make it look like I'm being overly critical of you, but I've heard this and I've seen this on Twitter that it's setting it up for this or whatever. I don't think that enters into the football in any stretch of the imagination. I don't even think the documentarians really care. It's just they're telling the story, right? And I say that for two reasons: is yes, the football team is the center of the documentary, but it's not the like. If you were to run how many minutes of time is actually to shown towards showing the football and the highlights and the matches themselves versus just about different stories in the community, it's what 10% of the documentary. Sure, it drives some interest, but I don't think that they really care, and they're going to be able to find a story to tell because it's the story to tell. Even if it is, we got smashed and fell off the table, we were sitting in third place and we finished the thing 8th and everybody was woe was me at the end. Yeah. That's a story. I don't think it's about wanting to go and get success. I don't know if you guys have thoughts different than me, but I don't think that references into Parky's thought process or the players or even the club's management. R&R are going to be interested in it, right? Because they've got a marketing side to it. But I don't think that they're looking to manipulate anything or influence or encourage or hope. I think it's easier if we go up all the way to the Premier League in 4 years, not for them financially, but for the sake of the documentary. I don't know. My thoughts.
No, I agree. I think it's not even that's not a consideration.
Yeah, 312
it's just reactive, isn't it? The documentary is reactive to that. And the weeks that we don't do well, they fill in with more community stuff. The weeks where there's a big game or a big event, I think then there's a bit more football.
There are two issues with the new Welcome to Wrexham. And one of them is that they don't know how the season's going to end because they have decided the first half of the season is coming out during the season.
April 18th.
And the second half is coming out during the summer. So in theory, you almost have two seasons. You have the first half of the season, then you have the second half of the season. They want to form some type of little narrative across the episodes to stitch them together. Yeah. So it'll be first half of the season, second half. But they don't know what that is because this is live football. The other side on this is Hugh has said, not Hugh, Humphrey Kerr has said that it is more football heavy this season. So they are going more football heavy, more background stuff. But again, you can't tell. And some of us know some of the best seasons are when everything goes wrong at the end of the season. When your favorite character dies or when everything looks like it can never return, it can never get better, all this sort of crap. So having a bad season is not a bad narrative for a TV show. So
I'm just going to jump in and cut off. I've got Steve just jumped in, so I'm going to add him. He's all sitting here.
I'll just pick up on that comment from Starkey. Is in reference to our bit of filming that we did for season 2. That unfortunately it was cut out, but where we were in the Fat Boar trying to eat a match day burger with our good friend Neil Smith and the ladies as well, and they had a camera in your face trying to watch every chew of the burgers, and then ask you to eat the burger and carry on eating the burger. So that's what he's talking about there. Good evening, boss.
Steve Jones, a pleasure to have you. I think we all know who you are, if by title, if not having met you either personally or electronically myself. But why don't you, for everybody that is here, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and your thoughts on what was an interesting day for the team. Oh, and you're muted. Let's make sure it's not on my end. Oh, I don't even have your mic showing up to change your gain, so I think that's on your end with your mic.
My issue earlier, he needs to click on the settings button and change his microphone.
Click on the settings button down below, you're saying?
Yeah, in our settings below.
So I'll bump you off, Steve. Stay with us and then give us a thumbs up when you're ready to go. I'll go back to the people. Whoa. I'll go back, and when Steve's ready and I see his gain pop up, I'll step in. Still waiting for a goal in the Canada-Trinidad game. 6 shots, 2 on target, 209 passes, and 8 freaking corners, 68% possession, and no love. It's going to go to kicks, and we're going to end up losing this thing, and I'm going to cry and smash things. I just feel it, and it's not okay. Do not ruin my day.
It'd be worse if we lost today. You'd have double disappointment.
Yeah, probably. This one, to be fair, I'm more invested in Wrexham than I am in the Canadian men's national team. I want us to do well. I want to see some players get over into England instead of just playing in Germany and Italy and France in the top divisions. I'd like to see some hit above the championship. Ike Ugbo or did he come back? No, he's still over there, I believe, with Swansea, isn't he? We've got what's his name, Kone and Watford, that are on right now. But yeah, that's the push for me. I see he's gone and he's looking to come back with a reload. Where do we go from here? We've talked about the game. There wasn't much to talk about.
That's the problem, is that game. It was the 3 goals and then it was the dead game. It was a dead rubber then, really, wasn't it? It wasn't, I felt it was. I didn't ever think that they were going to get back into that game. I know they did get a goal, so that sounds ironic. But I was never worried. I don't know if anybody else was, but I was never concerned, really. I thought we were managing the game.
And I will say this. I've been critical of Ogonkwo for not coming out and rescuing his defenders when appropriate and communicating with them to end up understanding what was behind them as threats.
Today.
There were 2 instances where it's pretty clear to me that he said something and the defender responded, at least to know what was around him. And there was another play where they had a forward coming forward, putting pressure on the defender, aka the sort of the cannon goal that happened in the last game. And he just went out there barreling and grabbed it out towards the edge of the 18-yard box. And so I was happy to see that today. So I give him a thumbs up. Do we even care talking about Grimsby's goal? I think it just was one of those ones that just happened.
So it annoyed me because I don't want the bad habits to creep in.
Yeah.
So when I watched it, my initial thought was, and I've only seen it the once, my initial thoughts and what I wrote was I thought McFadzean and Young didn't get close enough, quick enough to the lad who took the shot. So one of them should have closed him down quicker.
I saw that differently. I thought Young threw like a basketball style pick, and he McFadzean had him. I thought, and Young. If you watch it again, have a look. That's what live and I said on the watch party was that was a Young error, in that he laid the pick on McFadzean and he was going the opposite way, so that by the time he stopped and started to turn to try and get to the attacker already had the 2 feet, 3 feet he needed to be able to get the shot away.
The point is 2 people shouldn't let the shot away. That is either way. You got 2 people there in front of him, but it annoyed me because I was just like, don't let the bad habits in ahead of Friday. Is all I'm don't do something soft. Don't let those little silly lack of concentration. But ironically, it was 2 subs, wasn't it, as well? So maybe Parky's right. Don't change players.
I'm just going to answer this question just really quick. This is a question as to the watch parties. I have goal videos set up for chants and all that sort of stuff. There's no canon chant. Everybody's talking about a Lion King chant or a Lion Sleeps the Night type chant or something. I'm looking to the people at Wrexham or Tim from Fearless in Devotion to sing something out and get a chant going for the Lion King so that I can put that one together. No worries. I don't think we're intending to wrap up anytime soon. But and anybody else who wants to join in, by all means, there's the link again. Go ahead.
Michael has an interesting comment there. With Arthur being younger, it's hard to shout at people older than you. That will come as he develops. He seems to take longer today on his goal kicks to set himself. Now, I completely disagree with this. I'm sorry. I don't care what age you are. That is your position. You're a goalkeeper. You need to be shouting at your defenders when appropriate. You don't shout all day, every day. You shout when it's appropriate. And end of story. Your defenders do as they're told. You know, you don't shout for no reason. You are leading that back defense. I have a kid who is 10 years old, and he is a goalkeeper for ice hockey. And he tells players where to go. Get on the back post. Cover this man. He's yours. This is my guy, whatever. You know, that is what a goalkeeper's job is. They organize their defense where appropriate. Yes, people should know where they are, what they're doing, but they can see things differently being the last person further back. They can scan and they can see danger areas. They know if I'm looking on this side, this is where the danger is. You over there better be getting that man. I'm not getting him. I can't get him. If he passes, I'm done. I'm out of the equation. You better have him.
I agree with the position and that's the intention. Do I also understand and appreciate that there may be amazing ball stoppers who aren't the most vocal, and I think that might be what Michael's getting at. Is it's a deficiency in his.
It's a deficiency. That's exactly what it is. Yes,
that would be my biggest deficiency that I think he has is his control of his back line and his communication with them. I go back to the back-to-back corners that Cleworth kicked out where he had time and space, but nobody talked to him, and he had his back to the attacking forward, so he just thumped it out the back. That seems to have been going away. So I mean, I'm not in the stadium to be able to hear whether Arthur's yelling, at one end or the other. I don't know. At the tech end, can you hear Arthur's control?
Yeah, you don't really hear him. So he might be I think he's a talker and not a shouter.
Yeah. Compare him to the other goalkeepers around the league. I'm sure there's some that you're like, oh, shut up.
But and even
at
at Wrexham, Leighton, you hear him all booming, obviously used to, I should say, because obviously we've not seen him in however long, 12 months or whatever. I've lost track. But you would hear him booming all the time.
Too much.
But I think it's tough. It is tough if you are. He's an introvert, it would appear, doesn't it? That will be hard for him, and it'll be one of those things where really we need him to play with the same players all the time, so they form an understanding.
Yes,
which is why perhaps we struggled when we were dropping one here and one the next week and one the next week. So ideally, Sheldon is absolutely right. That would be the textbook. That's what the textbook will say. But Arthur is just not of the textbook, and so we need to help him. So maybe what we should actually say is, O'Connell, Owen, it doesn't suit Arthur, so you're in control.
Tough for the guy in the center. 95% of the time he can, but he doesn't have the same view all the time.
He doesn't have the same view.
He can't see exactly what they do.
You know what it is? Ryan and Rob, I'm sure they know some theater actors, coaches. Arthur's taking
get him out of himself.
Classes and working on projection for the off season, and that's his off season efforts. Flying him out to Hollywood and give him the classes. But what else can we talk about? Go around man of the match. I guess it's got to be Cannon because he scored 2 goals. Anybody have anything other than that?
No, and I thought he played well as well. That was the thing. Not just that he got, because sometimes people score goals and don't do anything else.
Yeah.
But they still get man of the match, and you're like, well, that was because of the goal or that, whatever. But I thought he played well.
The Palmer streak continues. We haven't mentioned that one.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And 3 goals, so that's above the average that he normally has. 1 goal, that's a 0.06 above what is the team normally allows, but still undefeated when he starts. So to me, you don't change anything up front going towards Mansfield. You don't change anything in the back. To me, it's just the question of where McLean slots in, Mendy's injury, and where TOC goes. Is that all we're looking at?
Yeah, unless anything happens in training. Yep.
Yeah. So, what else can we talk about? Was there anybody who had an exceptionally a game that you thought was a little bit below par?
I thought Bolton had a good game. He wasn't really tested, but I thought he was tidy and he got forward and used his pace. So that was as good as we've seen him. It wasn't a very high bar, but that's as good as we have seen him.
Yeah, I do like his willingness to attack the center of the pitch. It's just not always corner and cross.
Cuts in.
Barney, I think, has better crosses than Bolton does. If you were to line
Yeah,
the two of them up and
definitely.
say kick it in the trash can from distance, I think Barney's plopping more. Well, we got heat. Fisticuffs in Canada. We got to get a little excited on this one. But I think Barnett's a little bit one dimensional on that, and he relies on his ability to deliver a little bit more. So I do like that from Bolton.
Yeah.
Palmer could take a lawn chair out on the pitch with him, and you'd still win.
That was an interesting question there, Bolton. I wanted Bolton to have a good game, but to be honest, I didn't pay overly much attention to him. And the comment there was saying he deserved second man of the match. Do you think so? Do you think he played well enough to stand out and say I deserve my spot as first place?
No, I mean he did his role, he did his job. It was an above average performance. It was a solid performance with him. Do I give him second man of the match? No. I don't think that the defenders were really tested. Everybody was on the outside. Mendy, I don't think had a great game. Lee was more active than I've seen most. Like there was a desire to drive, but nothing really. If I was to talk Mullen and Palmer, he just frees up the ball, and even sometimes it's just getting his big butt in front of bodies and letting the ball hit the ground and then moving it somewhere, and stealing possession. He did that a couple of times, but it's got to be the guys up front and the goal scorers. To me, they were the ones that finished, and Mullen had more than just his finish. He was in there, the pass that led to the break to the Cannon goal. Those are the two for me. It's be between Cannon and Mullen, but Cannon in a walk, I think, for this one.
Okay, I'll change the question slightly. Did Bolton do enough to stay in the team if Barnett is fit? For next week for Mansfield.
To me, I think that Parkey is spoiled here. I also don't think that this goes into Parkey's frame of reference. I don't think he's using this thoughts to choose. But you've got, if I've got a lineup of center backs that are just blocking the middle, they're just big center backs. I don't want Barnett on the wing. I want Bolton, because I want him attacking, looking for openings, and trying to stir the drink in the middle of the pitch. If we've got guys who are better with their ground duels, and on the counter attack, I'm probably pulling Bolton out maybe, and putting Barnett in to sit there and serve it up to them. I think we have that luxury, and that to me it's a who do we play question more than it has Bolton's drawn in. I think Bolton's proven that he is close enough to Barnett and I'd even accept an argument maybe even better than Barnett. To me, it depends on who they play.
Yeah, I think it's the right question to ask. And I think based on today and the fact that Barnett is coming back from an injury, which has got bruising and stuff, I think Bolton will have done enough today to stay in the team. But that's a contribution of, as I said, the injury and at home, Parky will want to be attacking. So that's my guess. But it's all guess. It's all guesswork.
Yeah, of course. My addition to that would be, I'm hoping / believing that Bolton's ceiling is higher, and that if you give him enough time with the team, he will continue to become better and better and better in the remaining matches.
I'm with you there.
If he doesn't, he doesn't. Because the flaws I see in Bolton and the flaws I saw today was where I believe he was not in sync with the other players. And that's from not being connected, not having enough time to understand their movements, them not understanding Bolton's movements. Occasionally, they get out of sync with each other.
Okay, that's a fair comment.
Question down below. Can we discuss the subs lineup?
Okay.
My initial response is, who else do you really put in? Like, because of injuries and banged up bodies and exhaustion and all that sort of stuff.
Jordan was the only one I was a bit like, why are we not trying to get him some minutes?
Especially because we put 3 strikers. Dalby sat on the bench, and I went, at the start of the game, I went, for the love of God. If we follow the script of being down by a goal and we go 3 strikers, and when we end up pulling Mullen and Fletcher off for Dalby, I'm going to end up fuming.
Okay. My counter to that would be, surely we all agree that the remainder of the matches, it's extremely important that we win. Therefore, I would suggest we should have all 3 strikers on the bench so that we can exchange any of the strikers for injury or issues during the match. Because if you want to play big little, then you want to be ready to swap them out for injury as well. And you don't want to be just settling for a draw. You want to keep your attacking prowess at all times, and you want to be able to make those changes. So yes, in this scenario, you're saying maybe he throws everybody on kitchen sink to try and win it. But I'm thinking more along the lines of, okay, if Mullen goes down, who are you putting on? If Palmer goes down, who are you putting on? And then having an extra just in case. Keeping the attack available.
Yeah, I would have definitely had Davis for Dolby. You got 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, 2 attackers, and your keeper. I think the balance. And I don't understand. Dolby comes out of nowhere again. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
Where does he just appears out of nowhere and gets ahead of certain people in that squad, and then he'll be dropped for weeks. So I'd have definitely had JD.
Okay,
but let us know, Michael, what you'd have
yeah.
done, because the fact you've brought it up as a question,
okay,
is means you might have done something different as well.
A little question there, though. Would this never have happened if McLean was available? Having the 3 strikers.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
we have used McLean as an additional striker when pushed. So if we need to throw the kitchen sink, if McLean is on, his role can be changed, whereas he's not available at the moment.
Yeah, I even question whether McFadden would have, like, if McLean was available, I don't think McFadden draws in, because I think, and it may have even opened up the opportunity for Jones, because you've got McLean who can fit both roles, then you're happy to put Jones into the lineup, and JJ gets his spot there, and you can take Dolby off. That's certainly an option. I think it was just a byproduct of the circumstances in this one.
Yeah, you made a comment earlier about McFadden, about you didn't really understand him getting the extra spot and why we didn't take in another player.
Right.
I was out at the time, and I put a comment in that I understand it, and that as far as I read it from the comment, was that that space was purely for a big injury. In any senior player, any core player, that they could go out and find someone. Yes, they might be a little bit, need a bit of warm up or whatever before they can play. But if we get a disastrous injury to someone that we feel is a core, we can go and grab someone and pay whatever we need to pay.
I get it with 8 games.
You couldn't have paid anyway. You couldn't have bought somebody. That's wages. Yeah. You could.
Yeah, but they're all out of contract, because the only person you can get
could
is
have got a free agent
anyway.
from somewhere.
Yeah,
so it's a free agent no matter what.
It wasn't.
And I haven't looked up how Donovan Pines is doing, because that was the guy I was calling for in the back, and whether he's actually seen any time.
I think we've overcomplicated it. I think they've given Ford as long as they could to get back into the squad. Yeah. He's obviously not.
Couldn't do it.
He's obvious, because he's not even been. I've not even seen photos of him, or maybe I've missed them. I've not seen photos of him anywhere. So correct me if I'm wrong. He's not been in training or anything like that. So he's not fit. Then realistically, you pull a free agent in, they're not going to be fit, because they'll have been doing basically next to nothing since you have to be a free agent in January. So they've had no football for 2 months. And the only option was the guy that's been in and around our squad in the end, wasn't it? That they didn't let go, or they kept him, and they warned us from the start that Callum McFadden's been kept in case Ford doesn't get fit.
I wanted to jump in. I said Donovan Pines because I see what you're saying, leaving him out for Ford or whatever. I viewed that spot as preferably we're going out and we're getting somebody who can fill a need and find a free agent. And if we can't, then we're doing the measure off Ford. Is it going to be McFadden or save it for injury? Yeah. To me, the initial desire was to go and find somebody. I will say this: Donovan Pines was a named MLS free agent, didn't land with DC United. Big, huge, tall center back. We were looking for a center back, not really a need as it looks for it. He got signed by Barnsley, which I went, I should have been more vocal about pushing for this guy when it all was happening. He, in the Bolton Wanderers game that he last played, he's now started the last 3 for Barnsley, 7.8 highest ranking on the Barnsley squad, and he's got 2 goals in his 3 games as a center back, and the highest rated on the team. There is some quality over in the MLS. The question is whether they can play the style, but a big, huge lump and body like that with pace. I was hoping they'd go out and get somebody like that. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they had to fill the spot. And they've got 7 games left. You've got to fill the spot. And so you're not going to get a free agent. 40's not coming back. It makes sense, but it's not what was optimal out of those 3 options that I was kind of considering.
Yeah, I'm taking a different tack on that than you. I didn't see that at all. I saw it as very much, okay, they are waiting for 40 to come back if he can make it. And that spot was literally for emergencies. We have the money. We can buy someone if we need to. And let's assume something happened to one of our main players 3 weeks ago. You could go out and get a free agent. And if they weren't match fit, you could train them for 3-4 weeks and then bring them on match fit. And that would still be better. That's on the assumption that a player goes down for the season, and neither happened. We didn't get a massive injury, so we didn't buy someone in. Ford didn't come back, so the last option was McFadzean to come in. And since we discussed this before about an American player and potentially the issues with paperwork and leaving all that aside, I do think that what we kind of came up with as a consensus was that the first American player is likely going to be a massive story, and maybe they want to keep that for a big event.
So the documentary does influence the team in
No,
some ways.
not necessarily a documentary. They're just smart about their marketing in general. And like it could be a summer signing in between seasons. Okay, are they keeping it for League One? Are they keeping it for Championship? That when they do take that first big American player, that's going to be a massive story, that they do it, at a later stage when it's a bigger name.
Parky won't be interested. He wants tried.
No, Parky doesn't.
Tried and tested, doesn't he? So,
okay, but do you think Parky's even looking at Americans?
No.
But I guarantee others are looking at Americans.
Well, I would assume that Rob and Ryan liked the story and would like to have a Canadian. But
again, there's no rush. No rush. They're not pushing it. They're not forcing it.
And I get that.
They could do it now and get the story.
Tom McGill is my potential Arthur Ogonkwo, depending on what happens this year, substitute, the Canadian goalkeeper that's third in line at Brighton. Okay. And he's already in England and can come over to the squad. For those that don't know, that with the visa push, it's a lot easier for Americans to get over. Mexicans ranked 11th, 12th, 13th, like in that range, you get all those extra points. If you've had an international representation, you get enough points. You can go over and play in England quite easy. Difficult for Canada, who sit right today at 50th. If we lose this game, we drop out of 50, we ain't getting enough points. There's not going to be any more Canadians added. So that like the players that snuck in, good for them. But it's closing the door to that dream for probably at least another 6 months to a year. And anyway, we're waxing poetic about the summer already. We're at an hour 44. I know that Steve was saying, hold on, he was going to try and get back in and was having an issue, and I'm hoping that he gets another an opportunity to do so. The link is out there if people want to do things, as we're probably looking to wrap things up, I'm assuming. There's the link. I'll even show it in the chat if somebody, I don't think you can copy it from the video, but it's there. Grab that link and put it in and have a chat, and we'll see. All right. And then one thing, Matt's going to be bouncing out. Matt, why don't we look like we may be wrapping this up, and I'll go back and enjoy my second half, or maybe run a Canadian watch along. Nobody wants that.
You never know. You never know.
Never know. So Matt, you've got things to do and places to go. So why don't you tell us what's coming up this week for you as we lead up to Mansfield on Friday?
Oh, yes. So we'll definitely be doing the podcast on Wednesday at 6:30 our time.
And you run that live. Like, I just want to make sure everybody knows. Run that live similar to this. Yeah.
So that'll be on YouTube, and it'll run in Twitter as well. And I'm not sure what I'm doing Thursday, because I've been doing this pre-match thing as well, which has been good to chat the night before the game, the sort of previews. But I'm not sure. What I'm doing on Thursday, so I might do that. But that'll be ad hoc, last minute, wing it type of jobby. So it depends on how my marathon training's going. Obviously, you see. So That's it.
Okay. I don't know if we should wrap this up, but I also have Mike saying do the second half watch along. Sheldon, it's just going to be you and me. I think we've covered all of the bases as far as the Wrexham stuff goes.
Watch the game, man.
Watch the game and do a watch along and get into the second half and give everybody the update. And I can talk all about.
Yeah, I
the
don't care. It's
Canadian
only 11
national
o'clock at
team
night.
And we can do that. I guess I should ask Matt if you're streaming this, it's going to be live and people are going to be joining for Wrexham stuff and wondering why this Canadian's talking about things. Should I jump off and fire up a new one?
I got a Wrexham shirt.
It doesn't bother me. You do what? Do it. It's easiest, man.
Just-
It's easy. It's
no
easier
point.
for you to all stay here, isn't it?
It's easier just for everybody to
It's easier
stay
to
here.
stay,
So
yeah.
we'll do the disconnect, and if somebody comes in and gets angry, they can ask why is a Canadian Wrexham fan talking advertising Wrexham because we're massive and we're drawing in Canadian fans by.
So everybody have a good week. Have a good week, Sheldon. I might see you in any of the chats.
Discord, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so enjoy your night.
For sure. Thanks to you guys for doing this. It's been another blast again for everybody who's signing off because they don't want to hear me wax poetic about the Canada match. Go ahead and it won't hurt my feelings at all. Otherwise, we're sitting at the half on this one, and I'm gonna go ahead and cover this.
Yeah, no, watch it, enjoy it. Hopefully, Canada win for you, mate.
I need it because 50th is like the cutoff for the English visa thing. We made the World Cup and we've fallen apart. We've got good talent individually. Our coaching just all went to shite because of the blow up. So anyway, Canadian watch along. If you're signing up, I'll bring the stats up and sit here and chat with you about
You just need to do this. This is what you need to do, right?
Go on.
Okay. So we're still sitting 0-0. Half's almost over. Here's the problem, and
this is what it is
Jonathan
now, everybody. It's a Canadian watch. It's backwards, even.
It's backwards, yeah.
Canadian watch along.
Canadian watch along. Maybe I should get rid of the Welsh stuff. I'll do that. I'll just go straight black on this. So that
Yeah,
these people
earlier in our
That's it.
stream, we had a big conversation about Wales versus Finland, and we're getting comments in chat. What's the score?
No way.
The score in the Stockport match. Oh no, it was
Let's
the
go to
early
this
one. It was the
I'm gonna go
Mansfield.
to
It
this
was
one
like,
and
what's
have
the
this
score in the
playing
Mansfield
the
match?
background? Well, no, that's ugly. Let's just
Yeah,
go to
you
a
just need to
static.
change your graphics. Get the Canadian ones ready.
Canadian flag.
I don't have a Canadian one, and I am
You're
not
gonna have to
making it.
fix that.
We'll just go with a plain old, boring white one. There we go. We'll have the chat this way. We'll get into it. For those who are following along, Canada national team, Jonathan David, who's one of the top scorers, he's just behind Mbappe in League One, is the guy who stirs the drink for us up front. But the problem is he's a poacher. We don't have anybody who puts the boot through the ball. It's supposed to be Kyle Larin, and it's that ain't it. That ain't it. And so Ike Ugbo, who, and I forgot where he's at Sheffield Wednesday on loan. That's where he went. I thought Swansea. I knew it started with an S. So he's at Sheffield Wednesday playing. Kone's in the middle. You got obviously probably the best known Canadian guy, and he doesn't play the same position on the left back. He plays in a 3-4-3 on the left side of the midfield. That's Alphonso Davies from Bayern Munich. That's our top guy. And if you don't know his story, he was born into a refugee camp in Africa while he was displaced from his nation, ended up growing up in Edmonton, was given the opportunity to play with his home country, to play with his country of birth, which obviously probably not a fan of really, or with Canada. And he decided to come over and stay with Canada, and it really reinvigorated the entire team. And that includes, so Jonathan David, League One. And then you've got Ishmael Kone, who people might know, he's at Watford, and the other three big names, Eustachio, who's with Porto, Buchanan, who just left to go and sign with Inter Milan, and Alistair Johnson on the back, who's with Celtic. And we're underway in the second half. The stats really uneventful, and of course, my stream. Did I hit the pause button? I did hit the pause button. I'm going to hit the live button as I try to get the headset on here. The stats for this one, we've been dominating throughout, just no love. 66% possession, 6 shots to 2, just nothing connecting up front. And that goes to what I've been saying. Kyle Larin, I love him. Scores tons of goals for us and has in the past, just hasn't in any event. Do you think Mullen gets a Welsh call up? I guess we're going to get random channels play Russian in the background, maple syrup, etc. Larin needs to come out. The problem is I don't know who you put in there to play. And the part that makes me nervous with the backups is we've had the same goalkeeper for years. Our captain, he's now retired. And so we've got Max Crepeau, who is an MLS goalkeeper who just signed. I think he went from the Montreal over to Portland Timbers. And I'm not sold yet because I haven't seen him enough. But it always makes me nervous to go into pens against a team that's got nothing to lose. And so we'll see where we're going. The game stream is Paramount Plus. In Canada, it's One Soccer. I don't know where you're going to get to it. Giveaway, Trinidad, just to the right. Trinidad ended up picking Kyle Larin pocket and going forward. And that was Raymond. That's their second close shot that they've had, they've said. The first one I saw, so that would be the second. Oh, it was Buchanan who got dispossessed. The Inter Milan guy over on the right side.
Okay,
And that's
I'm going to take 2 seconds and see if I can find the match.
If you go to Live Soccer, for anybody who's watching it, feel free to go and grab it and pull it forward. Live Soccer is where I go. livesoccertv.com, and then you can pull up, search for Canada Wrexham, and I'm going to go there and see, just so I can give it to anybody who doesn't look it up. Live broadcast, and it only shows my Canadian ones on my phone. It usually lets me go to international coverage. So Rush in the UK and England, United States, it's on the CBS Sports Network and Paramount Plus. Rush throughout CONCACAF, and I don't see it being televised anywhere in the UK. International, Facebook Live, YouTube, or CONCACAF official app is what I've got. So I don't know if you've got Facebook Live and can pull it up for free. Might be worth a search for the people that are there. As we're going to go into our 8th corner. Is that where we're at with the stats? And I normally just catch all of this. Outswinged corner from the right-hand side in front of an empty stadium at FC Dallas, where they're also 11th corner. Out too high, going to be headed away, and it is. Garcia clears it, and they just thump the ball down, and Max is out near the midfield stripe. Problem, I'm well into reggae. And to be fair, Wrexham has a long history of Trinidadians playing there, as I understand. Somebody can go through that conversation. I don't know if we've had any Canadians. But yeah, so it's on One Soccer if you're in Canada. It's on, it's on Rush if you're anywhere in CONCACAF other than the US, CBS Sports Network, and Paramount Plus. And then it says international. So this is really anywhere other than CONCACAF in North America. It says Facebook Live, YouTube, or the CONCACAF official app. So I'd feel free to go and look at those as Davies puts it in the 18-yard box. Kone, the Watford man, gets it over to Johnston, the Celtic man, looking for Davies too far. Davies saves it. But it went out. So it's going to be a goal kick. I thought he was bringing that back in. You'll have to let me know, Sheldon, if you're banging around for Facebook Live, YouTube, or CONCACAF official app. Maybe I'll copy and paste that. I'll just type it out. It says it's on Facebook Live, YouTube, or CONCACAF official app. And I don't know if that's a pay for the game or if they're just promoting the games. Right now, what's going on is you've got the Gold Cup, which is a North American competition with one international invite that they run every year. It's U.S., Mexico. Davies just took one into the groin, doubled over, and he's had to make a play of the ball as the Trinidadians were running at him. So back to the Gold Cup is the U.S. and Mexico are going to be in the final. Them taking care of who they needed to take care of in their respective semifinals. The Jamaicans made it nervy for the U.S. Scored in the first minute, and then 3 goals in extra time. I don't know when that's ever happened. That groin shot looked miserable. Best player on the pitch, and he misjudged that one and took the ball right to the right square to the bits. James, where are you watching it from? Are you on One Soccer Canada, or are you watching one of those apps? I'm curious if anybody's able to find that and draw that in. Is it Eustachio?
I think I found it.
You think you found it?
CONCACAF on YouTube.
CONCACAF on YouTube. So there you go. If you have the link, feel free to post it. Then people can pull that one up, and I can help to kind of guide things through as Davies centers it in. This is when I was watching through the first half. This is what I watched: is 80% of the ball just centered around the outside of the box, but no real threat. It looked very Wrexham as we get another corner, left-hand side. and it's odd. The one thing that I've always been fascinated about is the amount of faith that we've been putting into Waterman and Liam Miller, Kamal Miller, in our center backs, both MLS players, and not able to get any international attention, but they seem to have. This is 2 coaches in a row for the national squad. Lots of love from the international team. Even though Kamal didn't really play much last year, if I recall correctly, Waterman did. So there's the link. I'm going to grab that for the YouTube link so that you guys should be able to pull that wherever you are internationally. And man, I should have put the VPN on and I could have saved the money. Buchanan tried to get around on the inside of the box, but doesn't, and it's just going to get cleared. And this is what we've gone through, 52 minutes. Just the pressure on. And I know it's going to go to kicks if it doesn't get solved today. So there will be an outcome. And man, that makes me nervous. Jonathan David, who, if you're a poacher, I never understand why you're that far out, because he should be looking for drops, looking for scraps, but he scores way more goals than me and gets paid way more money to play the game.
Lots of fans in the stands there.
Well, it'll be empty. I haven't looked. It's played in the U.S. as a neutral site because of the Gold Cup. The question that was asked there was, and I'm looking for it on the chat to bring it up, was who are the best players for Canada? What club do they play for? Alphonso Davies, Bayern Munich, followed by Tejan Buchanan, who plays at Inter Milan. After that, who are we going to? Eustachio, who plays lots of minutes for FC Porto. After that, I mean, that's then you've got to drop into the second category. So those are our top 3. The second category, Jonathan David, who plays for Lille in League One. And after those 4, you've got sort of the next group would be Alistair Johnston, who plays center back for Celtic in the Scottish League. Kone, who's with Watford in the Championship. You've got Ike Ugbo, who plays for Sheffield United. And Ugbo's been downward trending, both as far as his league appearances as well as his international opportunities. And he's got a 5.8 today, but he's with Sheffield United on loan. And after that, you take another step back and you've got Waterman and Miller and Crepeau, who are our MLS guys, who haven't been able to get over. There's some other interesting names. Luke de Figueroa, and I'm going to pronounce that wrong. I'm sure of it. I'll go onto my bench. I don't know if he's on the bench today or not. He's actually English born, as I understand, but qualifies through a parent. He's with Fulham's academy. He's only 18, and he's opted to play for Canada. He's got limited opportunities in minutes. He played 90 minutes against Ipswich Town back in an EFL Cup match, but he hasn't played a lot. But he's 18, and so that's hopefully part of the add to the future of the club. Is we're looking for people. Nobody ever picked Canada, right? Nobody ever chose to play with Canada, and Alphonso Davies changed that up. You go, and I'm going to forget his name. Born in Calgary, played for England back in the 90s, and an opportunity. And I'm at the 55th minute, 54 minutes, 48 seconds, and that was our poacher David who had that opportunity.
Oh, I'm well ahead of you.
Sheldon, go ahead.
I'm at 55-25.
55-25. You're ahead of me. How's that work? YouTube's ahead
29.
of me. So you guys are I just crossed the 55-minute mark, so I'm going to be behind you guys. So no spoilers. It happens with this stuff when you bounce all over the place. I'm not going to be able to go to YouTube without using a VPN. So good to know that I'm paying for a service that's slower than YouTube. I'll take that up at One Soccer, like they care.
Lovely pitch, by the way.
And here's the interesting thing. Trinidad has 2 players, and the guy that's just coming on, they play in the Canadian Premier League, which is our second tier behind the MLS. And so you look at the squads and the quality of the players. We've got ponies. We just can't. This is the typical way that Canada plays. We're big favorites. We play a CONCACAF team, and we struggle. At least, unlike Jamaica, Trinidad doesn't seem to be a threat pushing forward.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. As we're still got 357 eyes on this one.
I assume you didn't see the Wales-Finland match.
I did watch that one, the 4-1.
Oh, you did watch it? Yeah,
I did watch, but
great
to
game.
be fair, I was at work and I had it on my phone,
Yeah.
so I was really watching the goals and any controversies. I don't know where we're at.
Yeah, no, K-Ron was having a big conversation with me earlier, saying that the goals should have been allowed and all of this sort of stuff. And I'm like, seriously? 4-1 and you're worried about a goal not going over? It didn't go over. Like, you look at the goals Wrexham got away with. Like, you couldn't be sure that ball crossed the line. But Wales looked better because of Finland. Look, Finland is a part-time squad, essentially.
Yeah.
They had one good player, Pukki, and he scored the one goal. So they should have looked good, you know. And they did. They played nice football.
I've added the link onto my channel, just by the way, just because I guess it's linkable more easy and not necessarily showing up potentially on the streams. But anyway, it's there for people who want to grab it through the side chat and grab that. So Hugo, thanks for that and logging off. I appreciate you joining. It's going to bother me now. He played for the English national team for years. And I remember hating him as a kid because I was like, how could you end up abandoning who coached you? And we're dealing with the same thing with Fikayo Tomori, who left Calgary and has been sniffing around England. Owen Hargreaves, born and raised in Calgary, went to Bayern, went to Man U, went to Man City, and he played 42 games for the English squad. And as I recall his early life, he played all of his youth soccer. He was the only member of the team born in Canada, played at all youth soccer. His brother Darren and mother were born in Wales. He could have played for the Welsh team. And so maybe that's a curse, a double pox on Owen Hargreaves. He snubbed both Wales and Canada for England. But yeah, he didn't start playing football till he was 15, and then all of a sudden just blasted up and took off, and he went over and did his thing for Bayern, playing with the U19s. We've done the opposite with Luke, and I don't know how to pronounce Fougerols and whether they've anglicized it or not, but he was born in England and decided to play with Canada. But we just lost Tomori, who was born in Calgary, and he's now sniffing around the English team, even though he didn't play and hasn't been called up into camp. He might just be cap-tied for a bit.
Ireland has the same thing as well. Like, we're so closely linked to the UK.
Yeah.
All the players who have dual citizenship, they all want to break into the English team, not the Irish team.
Yeah, and so you have to wait until they end up not being able to avoid being cap-tied. And that's the thing with Tomori, right? Is he's supposed to have all the capacity, all the ability is I mean, now you're allowed, even if you're cap-tied after a certain period of time of being transferred, but it's 2 years of not having international football, as I recall. I might have to look that up just to confirm as we're waiting for the keeper down.
Yeah, the recent one that was in discussion was Evan Ferguson. Is he Bournemouth player, I think? Not Bournemouth, Brighton.
Okay.
And he's looking to go like 80 million into his next team and whatever. Massive new young striker, and he could have played for Ireland, but again, same sort of thing. Waited, got a different team, and
it's interesting to me because you always are going to get that if there's African nations joining Italy, and people were talking about that, and it happens with Canada's Eustachio just went down, and that. Oh, you must be ahead of me, and that didn't sound positive. I don't even want to know. We've got the ball. If you're a minute ahead, that has to be us. It has to be us.
A minute is a long time.
Don't even do this to me. I will lose my mind. If we lose this, I will be so upset. Tejan Buchanan with it, please, for the love of God. Kyle Laren, the guy I was criticizing at the half.
That was nice.
Canada's top goal scorer all time.
Oh.
But he's aging out, and he played in Wales for the longest time, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And he's done way better internationally than he ever did playing over in England. That's one of those things that when I look at MLS players and whether they could end up coming over, he's one of those ones that you're like, yeah. But he's with Mallorca in the La Liga. If you're not watching and he'll end up getting that, driven by Buchanan, looked to link, got it just into the 18-yard box, sort of takes a bounce. I don't know who got the second touch. And it looked like it just bounced off a defender and ended up on Kyle Laren's feet, who just moves over to the left. Was that played forward? No. I don't think it came off of the, I think that was Ike Ugbo, who was up there, number 12. I don't think it actually touched him. It bounced off a defender and landed onto Kyle Laren, who's moving left. Pops it, 1-0. Pressure's now on the Trinidadians. Bring on Messi. That's all I want. Is don't do it. Don't do it with the spoilers. Then I have to wait, and all you're going to do is see me suffer for an entire minute. And you can do that even I can see this. This is going to be an extra time, and you're just going to be like, and I'm going to panic.
I'm just going to start messing about now shortly.
I'm going to panic. Trinidad moving forward, knocked down by Kamal Miller, but it goes back to the Trinidadians, and don't do it to me. Maxime Croupeau, you beautiful keeper, blocked, and clear that. Just get it away. Don't be fancy. God damn. And so, no, I don't have it right. Lauren didn't play in Wales. He played in Brugge and Mallorca, and before that, Besiktas, and that's where he was when he left the MLS. So I don't know why I've got him confused with somebody else. And that's on me.
How far behind are you? Okay. I am at 15, 16.
I'm at 62 minutes, 18, 50 seconds.
About 30 seconds.
I'm just going to hit 63 minutes right now.
Yeah, 28.
Buchanan, I'll throw it back for Davies, and Buchanan misses him. The Inter Milan and the Bayern Munich man not able to connect, and Trinidad turns it the other way here. And Alistair Johnston, too, another player that came out of nowhere. And when he signed with Celtic, I thought, yeah, that's too much. They chewed off too much. I didn't think that he could play in the league, but from all accounts, he's asserted himself quite well. As Trinidad outside the 18-yard box, don't do it to me. I've had a good day. And Eustachio, Porto man, just grabs it and clears it away.
Cones Tetu Sheldon. Huh?
Yeah, 40 seconds behind. I can hit the refresh button, but I think this is just a byproduct of the YouTube going to be ahead of me. But I can hit the live button. Let's see what happens. Or the refresh button. Sometimes I'm nervous to hit the refresh button because I end up going backwards. But let's do it. Refresh. Don't think it changed. 64 minutes, 20 seconds.
No, that's better. Yeah, you're about 12 seconds behind now.
Okay, we'll take it. So in Eustachio, he's your George Evans of the Canadian national team. He doesn't really do anything offensive, but he just sits in the back and protects. And we need that. As we found out going to the World Cup, that our MLS center backs won't hold up against the big dogs. Yeah. And the lack of possession meant we weren't pushing forward.
You don't run a Discord, do you?
I go on occasionally, but not enough. I should probably join that Discord that you guys are on.
No, you don't run your own one, I mean.
No, I don't do my own.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm gonna throw the Discord link in and see if anyone wants to join us.
Okay, go ahead and throw it in.
Discord.
We just
I'm thinking about
it. In 65 minutes and wait for this one, and then for those that are interested in the international football window that's happening right now, Trinidad into the 18-yard box, dancing, and guess who's there? Eustachio. That's just what he does. He's got to come back and fill in the back line, and he does. And more so, I think, on the left side than the right, and that's not to be an insult to Miller or to Waterman. But Johnston's a different level over on the right side. Just control, boys, and let them come at us, and maybe we can get a counter a punch second here. So is that for me, Sheldon, or am I sharing that?
You can share it too. It's probably easier for you to share, maybe.
Okay, I'll put it there, and I'm also going to post it here for the Discord channel for everybody to check it out.
Yeah, that's time limited, but it's me inviting anyone to the server. So if anyone's interested in a Discord server chatting all about Wrexham, mainly, feel free to join us.
Eustachio pushed forward. Is the flag going up? Doesn't matter. Collected by the Trinidadian keeper. And I should start to pull who these names are because I haven't looked at any rosters or lineup of the Trinidadians except for where they played and didn't really notice anybody who played, somewhere where there looked to be a superstar. We were massive favorites from Vegas. So I'm glad we got the one as that just got bounced off of Alistair Johnston's head. And there's Crepeau.
Could you imagine American and Canadian players playing on some of the pitches we played on this league this year? Division 2. Look at that. Look at these pitches.
Well, I mean, there's infrastructure all over the place, and because it's the top soccer division, like this is FC Dallas's stadium, right? You play at BC Place, that's the World Cup stadium that's going to be used for Vancouver. The only joke of a stadium is Toronto FC's. They've got a temporary stadium, BMO Field, and I say a joke because it's been a temporary stadium since its inception, but they can't fill the big one, so they've got that one there. I don't know how they do. Like you look at Bradford's pitch they had in that last game against Notts County. How horrible! Could you?
And did you see Colchester got their pitch shortened? Because
they were having too many pitch
cancellations.
Spots. Trinidad, Raymond, don't do it to me. Buchanan looking to block, and Crepeau punches that one out. That was a weird, awkward, interesting save.
Come on, you've got to want to do.
I don't know what that was. The pitter pat save.
Penalties are great.
Sorry?
You got to want to do penalties. Penalties are brilliant.
No, you shut your mouth. Don't tease. If this gets to the Copa America and we've got a chance against Chile or Peru, and we don't get beat down by more than 5 goals by Argentina, I'll take some pen action. But we've got to get there. And sitting at 50th place, because of the visa issue with England and the opportunities that are available, and we did get 3 guys over there. Let's go and build on the momentum here. And it's hard to convince people to sign with you if you're going the wrong way because of sports governance, right?
Yeah.
These guys have committed, but Tamori didn't. That's a loss. And I don't know where he's playing. I was going to look that up.
Have you been paying attention to the Premier League?
I watch when I get the chances. We got a cross that's way too far by Buchanan. I don't know what that was. The reality for me is with work, I have limited hobby time for free stuff. And so so he's with AC Milan. Yeah, I guess they're a decent squad. Born and raised in Calgary. Played, then went over to Chelsea when he was 8. So he's been over in England for longer than he's been in Canada for his development. So that makes sense that he's playing in England. But I'm hoping that he does enough to be awesome, but not enough to make the English squad, and we end up picking him up. That promise. So in Schaffelberg, an up and comer, he's, I believe, just gone over to Europe and not playing over here anymore. And is he still over here? It looks like, yeah, he's at Nashville SC. But 24, and that's what right now I recall the press release is that it was the coach said that he's deserved the opportunity to potentially start because he's been so dominant for Nashville SC, which always sounds weird. Nashville SC. We're a bunch of
the reason I asked about the Premiership was because of the governance question, because you mentioned governance. The amount of teams getting points with deductions for overspending.
I did tweet about that. I tweeted about it because it doesn't make any sense to me. And that's what there's 2 ways that you can fix that is as the players and as the fans, we don't know what's going on. Sometimes even like the teams have an obligation to put their financial records into the EFL or into the Premier League, but they don't have to make it public. And here Leicester City just not even moving the documents forward, likely because they're trying to find a way to go under 35 million quid for their Trinidad moving forward. Cross, it's a bad pass and we're lucky, but Buchanan doesn't free it up. Would have liked a little bit more from Buchanan to get that, but there's Alistair Johnston to the rescue, and he's going to go on a run. I would have liked to I would like to see the salaries of the players in England made public for two reasons. Is it forces the management, is we've got an opportunity there, that ball just way too far, just not connecting. But here's the other problem with the Canadian team is because of the soccer governance, they haven't played together in a couple of windows.
Okay.
And so we're just, there's rust when you try and slam these guys together all the time. Public scrutiny of the salaries ensures that you're within your limits, because now the team has an extra concern, not going to be able to just push things a little bit and see how it goes. But the second thing is on player evaluation. If somebody signs on $1 million contract and is supposed to be all amazing, and they only pot 3 goals for the year, that brings criticism to the management. It forces the management to look at value. What does it do though? It does probably lower salaries for the players. So if you're somebody who prefers those salaries to be up, you wouldn't like that. Soft cap, hard cap, the light being shined on, it probably brings the salaries down. For some, they don't think that that's appropriate. We're getting close to yellow card for dissent here. Where's the backup, or where's the referee? Didn't like that call that went out into touch. They're having words, they throw it in, and the referee's going to come and have a chat with him and said, I saw it from way in the back and didn't even run up, that touched the player. Did you see the referee's motion? Like, I don't know where he saw it. He was off screen. There's no way he knew it. But I would have seen a yellow card for dissent there. Protect your linesman for that one.
Yeah, one of the most ridiculous things I think about the governance there with the Premier League is they have decided to do a cutoff in the middle of the summer window transfer. So the idea would be that you have a set number that you have to make, and you can make that number by selling players.
Yeah.
But you only have like 4 weeks to sell these players in the start of the transfer window. So everybody else during that period says, I don't worry about governance, tough shit. I'll give you 50% of what the players want. Take it or leave it.
Leave it, yeah.
You get left with your players. You can't sell them.
Hold on,
for a
opportunity
reasonable
here.
value.
Davis doesn't make the touch, and it doesn't roll to Buchanan. Davis should have worked for that one. I haven't looked at that rule yet.
So you can't sell your players to come in under the value, and everybody else says, no, we'd like you to lose points. We're not going to help you by buying your players. It's ridiculous. The cutoff should be at the end.
At the end
of the summer transfer period. So either you made a transfer or you did not.
I'm Brighton, Hove. I've been good with my numbers. I'm fitting in, and I know that you, Everton, need to get bailed out for the second year in a row over the 3-year average, and I'm going to say, we'll talk to you later.
But at least if you do it at the end of the transfer window, you have two things aligning at the same time. You have the team that is selling needing to get to a number so that they don't get points, but you have the team that is buying at the last minute. Do you want him or do you not want him? Do you need this player or do you not? Because now you're aligned with buying him and I'm aligned with selling him. Whereas at the start, for the first 4 weeks, any team that is not in need to purchase immediately says, screw you. They're not aligned.
You can see it in the January window where there's those chains where you've identified a player, but you've got 2, 3, 4, 5 people that are in that when you're waiting for them to go through. If they don't
comes
happen,
down
you're
to the
not
last team who doesn't care.
So I get your point.
Yeah.
So still getting to the 75th minute here, 1-0 Canada, still up on Trinidad, and still owning the possessions, which is a great place to be. Your positive football, I don't know if we're going to play it because we won't shell, but what you'll see is us advance the ball sufficiently through the midfield and then choke up at the end.
Yeah, but again, there's nothing wrong with holding possession when you're ahead and wasting a bit of time. You know, like I'm not completely against it in those sort of scenarios either. But yeah, I don't know.
My heart can't handle this much football in a day.
Yeah, I just hate top teams who are massively better than the opponent going defensive.
Yeah.
It's completely defensive. It just makes no sense to me. You are better than these players. Why do you even let them get in and take shots on you?
Shoulder-to-shoulder charge, and that ended up not going well for the Trinidadian Jones. Schaffelberg, the substitute, was the one that he challenged there. It looked just shoulder to shoulder, but he's flexing something in his leg. So we'll have some injury time here. If you're curious, the other, if you want to really, really make this a run of football for like freaking 16 hours, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, you can watch Costa Rica, Honduras in 2 hours time. That's going to be the other qualifier for the last Copa America competition spot. And then tomorrow is the gold medal game for the Gold Cup, Canada versus Mexico, or sorry, USA versus Mexico in the US. And it's one of those things, it's interesting. You watch the FIFA point system and how that all works internationally as you start to get into football, and you look at the US and Mexico sitting 11th to 13th sort of comfortably in there, and you wonder how that happens. Well, it's because they play each other so many damn times. And Canada not quite able to get in there. Am I going to do the Welsh match? No, because it's on a Tuesday, and I still got work to do as my headset's looking to crap out here, which I don't know if I've got a substitute.
Fox in Socks joined Discord.
Fox in Socks?
Mm-hmm.
I should click this up and you gave it to me. I should click it while I've got it. Oh, but I'm on my laptop. I'll do it when I'm done and pull it from my desktop. So throw it in. We're back underway. If my headset goes, I'm probably going to have to go back to listening through the speakers, and you may get the commentary. This isn't a fascinating question to me because I would have never thought of commenting on another nation's national team.
Okay. Why not?
Like for me, I'm Canadian. I'll do the Canadian match. But
are you telling me you're too nice to comment on another country's team? Seriously,
my heart's not in it. Like to me, it's Canada at the top, and then in below it, I've got Wales, England, and South Korea in equal measure, right? And so I won't have the same spirit and passion and concern and care. Do I want Wales to do well? Yes, but am I into it like I am this? No. And to be fair, if you would have told me at the start of the day, you can have a 3-point Wrexham win or a Canadian win, what did you want to do? And I would take the Wrexham win. As much as important as this is to Canada and the national squad, it's Wrexham that's brought me into football. Long shot, and well done by David to get over there and clear that one up.
I must admit, I find that hilarious. I'm sorry.
Which,
no, I'm purposely not making fun of you over it, but I find this hilarious.
What I'm curious. You won't offend me.
Oh, I would commentate on any match and fucking rip them apart. Oh yeah. Now look, I see. The thing is, Canada isn't losing. Now I would happily talk about Canada if they were doing badly. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest. So I do find that mentality a little bit funny.
I have never heard this guy's name. Chonier. Is this his first cap? Who the hell is Chouanier? Matthew Chouanier from Canadian soccer player. Not young, went through the academy, and this is a second cap, it looks like. So I missed one back in November when he played against Bahrain. But another Montreal player. Lots of the national team, for whatever reason, there's 3 MLS teams in Canada, Toronto FC, Vancouver Whitecaps, and Montreal FC. For whatever reason, Montreal FC, despite not dominating in the standings historically, that usually Toronto FC and second Vancouver, but they always have national team members, Canadian national team members that line up there. So don't do it to me. Trinidad still threatening. 81st minute, and the dummy outside the box, 18-yard box, left-footed. He missed on the tackle and let him right in. Chouanier just got danced. Not a good introduction to the game. Davies, that's playing advantage. Schaffelberg, come on, Nashville guy, do something. Show it off, Russell Rowe. Nothing. Nothing.
So what's the chance of a Wrexham US in a couple of years?
Versus the national team?
No, just a new team. Wrexham US.
You think that they're going to start a team and name it Wrexham US?
Yeah.
I don't think it'd get any love because of that. I mean, that's an interesting question. We cheer for teams geographically. So where are you going to put that team? Let's take an MLS city that doesn't have one. I'm trying to think of where that would be. Let me bring up the MLS. Salt Lake has one. Minnesota has one. Does Detroit have one? Maybe they were looking at getting one earlier.
Does Rob's town have one?
Philadelphia, yeah. That we played them. Philadelphia, and so
anywhere just outside Philadelphia.
Pittsburgh. I mean, that's his rival city. I imagine Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. I don't think they've got one, unless it's new. Yeah, Pittsburgh would be the obvious choice. Columbus has one, so it makes sense. And there's an opportunity. Kone bangs it off of a leg. All the time and space in the middle of the box, and they just freeze almost like they don't know what to do with the ball. Schaffelberg put it back in, cleared out, 83rd minute. Just get to the 90 and let's go face Argentina. Davis gets it off to David, and there's the frustration. See, those are our two big guys. When you got a Bayern Munich left back, I mean, he plays left wing back or left midfield for Canada, but that's our guy. And you get him to the second leading scorer in League One, only behind Mbappe. Most people know who he is. Like, there's Canadians that do things quietly. We just need more of them. We need 4 or 5 real true first teamers, and we're then really a threat, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how it would work to call it Wrexham US and put it in Pittsburgh. Pittsburghians, I don't think are going to get into it geographically. I did say next year, 2025, is the year ahead of the World Cup. The World Cup is over here for 2026. And if I recall correctly, there's a FIFA competition that's happening around the same time, like the U20s or U21s or something.
Okay.
And I thought there might have been an opportunity for Wrexham to play some national U21 teams over in World Cup stadiums.
Okay.
And I think that would sell. You've got Wrexham coming to play the Canadian U21s. Why not?
Yeah. So
U17s might be a little bit too young. U20s are 2025. And it's in Chile. They haven't determined what teams are going to be into it. But perhaps you could, and for Rob and Ryan, that's an opportunity for them to plug the coffers of USA soccer, Canada soccer, and grow the sport through the grassroots, while also filling, because there's half the profit from that game on ticket sales going to especially Canada soccer. That's a big deal. And Wrexham's going to pull it as well. And plus for the World Cup stadiums host, Toronto, Vancouver. Thank you.
Yeah. And
85th minute giveaway and wide open from the 18-yard box going in. No defender there. And Max just has to come out, and Crepeau, who's unknown really to most Canadians other than he plays in the MLS. We've seen him I don't know how many games has he played. Not very many.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they paid a lot of the expenses for Wrexham in that scenario. The tournament itself, kind of paying flying expenses and hotels and that sort of accommodation.
It's tough because when I brought up the draw, and I don't think it's on Wiki, but I thought it was after 4-on-2. Kone gets it out. Davies. Alphonso Davies. You have all of that pace. You have all of that skill. You have all of that talent.
1-0.
You had time.
Swirly glasses.
So I'm trying to find out when that tournament is going to be, the 2025 FIFA U20, but I think it works well. I would say next year, Put it on the East Coast. You're on the West Coast this year. Put it on the East Coast. Play it in Philadelphia and have the USA U21s playing against Wrexham in a preseason match and sell out a stadium, and USA Soccer gets a bunch of cash. Wrexham gets its money, and then head up to Toronto and do the same thing. Schaffelberg off the post. The MLS guy. And is that a sign that says Saskatoon? It's a Saskatchewan provincial flag. Who's sitting there from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, going down to FC Dallas to watch this one? Must be somebody who's living in Texas doing oil.
Canada are playing Trinidad and Tobago. The score is 1-0, and the match is available on YouTube for internationals.
And I'm going to scroll up and grab that link again for the YouTube one if you want to watch the last 4 minutes.
3-4 minutes.
How
much do the MLS charge for their tickets?
$20. I mean, you can get in for 20 and you can get the fancy ones for 50 Canadian, which is going to be what, 10 quid to 35 quid?
Okay.
Depending on where you want to sit.
Did you see how much they're selling the Wrexham tickets for?
Oh, well, yeah. But they'll do that for one-offs. But like here, I'm just going to go to tickets.
$120, $130 for a single ticket. Starting price.
Match on sale. If I wanted to go to the game tomorrow, or that's today. Today is a last-second sale against Real Salt Lake. I agree. $30 Canadian, up to 34. I'm going to narrow the filter here and say I don't want anything less than 110. Yeah, you can get up to 234 if you want to sit in the big seats. But this is resell on Vancouver Whitecaps. DC United, so 27 US, so about the same to get in a little bit more. But no, that's a huge markup because it's Wrexham and because it's a one-off, right? I mean, Vancouver attendance is, I shouldn't say this, is not very good. My office has 4 season tickets right at center field, right front row, which I nick at least for one game every year, sometimes 2 or 3. Jonathan David has gone down, so they're giving the ball up. So there will be added time here. Probably, what do you think, 5 minutes if you've been following along for this half? We had the goalkeeper go down for an extended spell.
The goalkeeper one was a long one. Yeah.
So I'm thinking at least 5.
Do you know what? I really think it would be nice if they mixed a couple of different styles for the football and updated it. I would love to see a countdown clock instead of a count up and just have it stopped whenever ball's out of play or we have injuries or whatever. And
I'd be okay with that, but it's part of the drama of football that I think the fans like. I mean, it always makes sense to me. We do buzzer beaters, right? And you've got the clock ticking down and the thing over.
Yeah. But what I would do is I'd add a caveat to it. I would add the rule that they use in rugby, which is once the clock strikes 0, the ball has to go out of play.
Okay.
So what you do is you continue your attack. And in rugby, then the defending team want to grab the ball and get it out of play. So they will just kick it out.
Yep.
And the same thing would then happen in soccer. So if you're attacking, you want to hold on to the ball, pass it around, and you can stay in play as long as you can hold the ball and get your final attack. And if the other team nick the ball, they kick it out immediately and game's over.
I'm okay with that one. Are you aware of the MLS time-wasting rules that they've implemented this year?
No.
So if you are on the ground for longer than 15 seconds with an injury, whether you have an injury or not, you're automatically off, and you're off for a minute before you can rejoin.
Okay.
And during the substitutions, if it takes you longer than, I want to say 10 seconds, if it takes you longer than 10 seconds to get off the pitch on a substitution, the substitution is not allowed for 2 minutes, and your team plays a man short for 2 minutes.
Wow. So that's basically you've been called for substitution, get your ass off.
Get your ass off the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the only time that I end up having an issue with that is if you end up in a special circumstance, like it's somebody's last game. I hope that there's some discretion so that they can go out and enjoy their thing. 6 minutes of added time. Russell, Road, Davis, Schaffelberg, Nashville boy. This kid's come out of nowhere. Like, he has, if there's somebody on the team who I think could go somewhere, I don't think this is Wrexham, but I think he's too much, but he's like our Alistair Johnston, the number 2. He's sort of come out of nowhere and just asserted himself and said, I can play international ball. And Nashville's like, we're not getting rid of him. He's playing every game for us. And when he started last season, I was like, who is this guy? And to be fair, he didn't have a good debut. He looked awkward and goofy in that mullet. You kind of had to have a chuckle. But like, he looks like a Canadian. That mullet, permed mullet, come on, man. You know what I'm talking about? Get in. Poutine and Caesars for everybody. So we're in. It's a perfect day. This is the perfect day. As long as my family doesn't get mad at me for sitting here on my butt so long and watching so much football, and I'm able to get through. Second goal for country, back-to-back games for country. He's got 3 in Nashville as a winger. Oh, and he's a Nova Scotian, Kentville. And he's 24. So I can see him getting Europe attention potentially in the summer or during the January window next year.
Yeah. Because the January window works out nicely for the end of the season.
MLS. Yeah.
Yeah.
But especially if you're looking for free agents,
because MLS releases them.
Because you don't know what you're getting from the MLS as far as that player being able to adjust over in Europe.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's always a risk if you're going to do a transfer that you're paying that big fee, they come over and they bust. So usually the MLS players and the North Americans want to grab on a free. And that January window works good, but then you're waiting for it works well for Wrexham, especially if we're in League One. Because if you watch all the videos, where does the MLS fit in the pyramid?
Everybody says between League One and Championship.
Yeah, and I'd even go like really low Championship to like mid League One. But if you're an MLS player who's a free agent, you've got to the teams over there have to either get them really young or really at the end of their career when they're looking to fade and kind of do the reverse MLS tour. This is the 28, 29, 30-year-olds who aren't going to be able to play, but still have the legs in them. They can go over and run out for 4 or 5 years over in England, I think. So Donovan Pines is like the perfect example. I'm going to be following his career because that's the one guy who I went, do I think that there's a guy who has a path to play in Europe if he can make the adjustment? It's him. And he went over to Barnsley and he's been doing his thing. Apparently. And I'm hoping that we get to see him next year in League One.
Is there rules about what we would call tapping up players in MLS?
I'm almost near certain that there is. Tapping up, we call it oh God! Now I know I can't even think of the North American term. Tapping up. We have a different term because I had to look up what tapping up was earlier in the year. Tampering, and it's punished severely. Like lose draft picks, lose money. It's jealously guarded, except in the NBA.
Okay,
the players.
My point is, you can't do that to a British club. So I'm not saying interfere and destroy with a contract, but like you said, if someone is coming up to the end of a contract, you could be discussing with them all the way through summer.
Yeah,
second half of the MLS, you're going to come out of contract.
I think you'd have to look up whether there's tapping up provisions that are FIFA rules. Like this is one of the discussions I've had about salary caps and all that sort of stuff. Is it'll never happen in football unless FIFA decides to make it so. Because otherwise you're having everyone go to Saudi because they're paying more money, right?
Yeah.
15 seconds left. I'm going to bring up the Copa America just because now that it's there, I feel so much better about life. Copa America Groups 2024 Wiki. 48th edition of the Copa America, which is the CONMEBOL South American stuff. And we're going We're going to the dance. We've earned our way through the back door. We should have done it against Jamaica. That was just a horrible game in Jamaica. It is what it is. But for Canada, I can close that one off. That means that we've got Argentina against Canada in Atlanta, Georgia on June 20th of this year.
Good luck with
that. Awesome. That's awesome. And as much as Peru and Chile, well, maybe not. I think we've got an opportunity. I mean, we'll be the underdogs, but I don't think we're completely out of it. Some of these groups are fascinating. Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, and they'll get either Honduras or Costa Rica. But the U.S., Uruguay, Panama, and Bolivia, that's an interesting one. The other one, Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica. That's a tough group. So it's a good day. Wrexham wins. Canada wins. Mansfield drops points. There's a split in points, and the MK Dons fall down. I feel good about life. Well, let's not be silly. Let's not be silly. U.S. men's national team wouldn't beat Wrexham. I'm going to go through.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah,
certainly they should. Yeah, they should.
I mean, I'll just for let's pull where the
of course we're not. Well, see, that's a very big statement. Of course, in a one-off match, Wrexham could
anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. But no, if you're making a statement, wouldn't beat them, then you're kind of saying, okay, well, in 100 matches, how many times are they going to win?
They've Juventus, Monaco, Eindhoven, Coventry, Union Berlin, another Eindhoven, Real Betis, Milan, Juventus, Notts Forest, Milan, Bournemouth, Palermo, Borussia, Genk, Fulham, one MLS player from FC Cincinnati, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Eindhoven again, Inter Miami, Cardiff City, Nottingham Forest. That's the players that play for that national team. That's should win and should thrash.
Do you know Swirly Glasses? Swirly Glasses, where are you from?
Swirly's, I don't know actually where Swirly is from, except that I know that often on my watch parties.
No, because there's two comments there that I found really interesting. The one right now is, I'm sure Okonkwo, we would have asked him how he feels at Wrexham and if he is receptible to a deal. Why would we be talking to Arsenal? Well, it's a different situation because he has been released by Arsenal unless he chooses to sign a new contract with Arsenal.
And has to because of age, as I understand. That's by rule.
Sorry? Yeah.
Yeah, and they will get a fee if he signs elsewhere for having trained him up.
Yeah. There's a fee owed potentially in that scenario, yeah. But how do you mean he has to sign a contract because of age? I missed your point.
Well, he doesn't have to sign a contract. They have to get paid. So like he signs a contract and they'll receive their fee for having paid. But he's out of contract
this summer. Yeah, he's out of contract this summer. So he's a free agent this summer. So we don't have to talk to Arsenal. And I believe the rule is in your last 6 months of your contract, if you're going to be out of contract, you're permitted to speak to anyone you wish, irrelevant of your team. Normally, you have to go through the team first and get permission to speak with a player.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that is what's called tapping up. You're not permitted to speak to the player without the permission of the owning club.
Yeah, tampering for
essentially.
us.
Tampering for you guys.
And the definition of what is tapping up and what is tampering is very different. Like I know in North America we say, oh, it's not allowed, but in NHL that includes players saying, hey, you should come over and play for this team. Like it's like you just don't.
Yeah, in the UK there's a million things you can do and you just can't be held for it. It's like, what do? You have a casual conversation with someone. You have your players talk to a player. If it's not official, then
and then you have players like there's the Hughes brothers that play hockey. One of them plays in Vancouver. He's the team captain. Two of them play. His two little brothers play in New Jersey. Do you think
In
they're
different
sitting around
teams,
the Thanksgiving dinner table, Christmas
Yeah.
table, whatever, and not talking about the potential of landing in New Jersey or the two of them going to Vancouver or whatever?
Yeah.
It's gonna come up.
Would you normally have notionally agreed a fee with the owning club in order to talk to the player? No,
That doesn't happen in
no.
North America, but you can get permission to talk to players, but and ask. That's happened in the past. I don't believe there to be a fee. I don't think the fee is allowed. But it's not tampering if you go to the club and say, "Can I talk to your guy?"
Yeah, in the UK, you certainly wouldn't need to pay a fee just to get to speak to the player. The idea is you go to the club and you ask them, would you potentially consider an offer? And if they say, yes, we would consider selling this player, they give you permission to talk to the player. Because if the player says, I have no interest in your club, then that's the end of it. There's no point in having a discussion with the club as to what fee you would want. Now, of course, if the team decides to be defensive and says there is no way we're selling this player, do not speak to him because we do not want you offering him double the wages we have and unsettling him at our club because we're never going to let you have him. So that's the idea behind it. The team comes first.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go though. This has been 8 hours of football on 2.5 hours of sleep, and I've got to go put some food in my gullet and some drinks in my body, and maybe have a sip of water or something because it's been a while. It's been a fascinating day, and Sheldon, I appreciate you hanging out and doing this one as we've wrapped it up. We've gone from Mansfield with the draw, Wrexham with the win. Crewe ended up losing, so that was amazing. It was a great 8 hours. I got no complaints except for the fact that I need some food and I need some water and I need a bathroom break.
And I am moving apartment shortly, and I will be organizing myself a little workspace for these little
get-togethers. That's awesome. Enjoy it.
So
I'm looking forward to doing that when we get wherever we end up moving and get our house back after the fire. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I'd love to do it in the off season rather than over the course of the season. We got to figure out when we're going to Wrexham and when we buy a house is going to influence that. I could be in there in September, could be there in December. That's all still probably January. Is looking more and more like the time. So we'll figure that all out. So enjoy the pack up, the move, and the setup. That's good stuff.
Just as a point, if you're interested, try and give me as much notice as maybe you can if you want. It's easier for me to fly across to the UK.
Okay.
And I will. So this year I'll be across there for 2 matches.
Yeah.
Maybe next year I might be going for 3. So if you're interested, I can meet up with you, show you around or whatever.
I am all for it. Absolutely would love to do it. It's going to be a different trip because I've got people to meet. Usually it's just all my wife's friends and all that sort of stuff, but I've got reasons to bomb around the country and do my own thing. So I will probably know 3 to 5 months in advance.
That's loads, yeah.
Because I'll know, we need to sell a house, buy a house, move into it, get settled, make sure my work schedule is not getting punished, and then pick the dates. And so, and it's cheaper to buy 3 months in advance. I'd rather pay $900 each for a ticket than $700 for a ticket. So
of course. Yeah.
So we'll do that way for everybody that's been here. I've really enjoyed this. It's been long. It's been fun. It's been a great day. A couple of things just as we wrap up. I'm going to be on for the watch party. Local pundit will be on for the watch party. Remember, there's a video coming out from Josh that keep an eye out for it that he's putting together on the local pundit, and Matt will be on 6 p.m. and I think he said Wednesday, if I heard him correct. But that'll be on his channel as well. Feel free to check out all of the other.
Tuesday, I think.
Did he say Tuesday?
Tuesday, I think.
Yeah. So it could be Tuesday, Wednesday. Make sure you go to the Racecourse Ramble and check that out and be a part of that as he's adding bodies to his sort of pre-game go through what do we got with Mansfield coming up. And then next week, Easter Monday is the first, and we're going to have 4 people. Sheldon, are you taking one of those games?
Maybe.
So we're going to figure out who the 4 people will be. It's going to be Josh and I for sure. Who the other 2 are, we don't know. But we're going to have 4 bodies each watching a game, sort of just going around the clock and giving a input as to what we think about what's going on in front of us. And I haven't picked out who those games will be yet, but I'm assuming that it's going to be, let me just go to my little chart here that I've got. It's got to be the four closest to us, right? So that'd be Mansfield against Colchester, or sorry, Mansfield against, well, that's us, so that won't be them. So Stockport against Forest Green, MK Dons against Walsall, Crewe against Gillingham, and then I guess we'll pick one of either Barrow or, well, I guess it's got to be Barrow is the other team. Well, I'll pick a game and watch that, and you can join in on that on the first, and then we'll be here for the second. So that's it. That's all. I'm wrapping this up. Much love for everybody. Wrexham play on Tuesday. Yeah, that's why we're doing the April 1st, Easter Monday. We'll do all 4 big, massive watch party, watch all 4 games that are going on at the same time as normal. And then Josh will have his watch party. I'll have mine. Pick your poison, flip a coin, go and soak in who you want to soak in. And we'll be for the after 90 for not the Easter Monday, but for the Easter or for Easter Tuesday. For the Tuesday match, we'll have the after 90 minutes for that one. So much love, happiness. I'm glad I woke up too for it. Thanks for everything, guys. And until next time.
Good night, all. Take care.